And we are live. Yes. Sorry guys, sorry about that. We had a bit of a hiccup with internet connection, so I do apologize for that. But we are back and ready to dismantle, ready to get into this reaction and unpack this reaction. So today we're going to be reacting to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has an interesting perspective on um, on this war. Apparently, there's a war coming. According to Andrew Tate, there's a war coming, guys. It's coming for all of us. And I want to find out what is this war? What's the nature of this war? What is this war about? I just want to see if there's any if Andrew Tate's way of thinking passes the logical test. This is what I want to find out today. Bear with me for just hold on a second for me, guys. I should have had this ready to go. Just bear with me. And KD is already here, round two. Yes, yes, KD, what's going on? Um, let me send that link as well. Where's the bro at? Hold on a second. There we go. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah, just sent that link. Yes, guys. According to Andrew Tate, there's a war coming, and it's coming for all of us. And according to him, you know, this war uh, is apparently going to make us into slaves for the Matrix, for the purposes of the Matrix. It will turn us into machines, into batteries, um, that the Matrix will use in order to empower its purpose. I mean, I just want to see whether his concept of this war is actually valid or not valid. If it's actually something worth listening to or not. If it passes the logical test. This is what I really want to find out. So without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Sorry for the hiccup, guys. I do apologize for that.
It's interesting the points you've made. It's giving me something to think about. It's certainly true. But that's why I'm gearing up for war so heavily, because this war, when people ask me why I don't try and avoid it in the two ways we just described, I don't think most people understand that this war is coming for everyone. It can't be avoided. You're either going to become someone like me who's fighting against it, the counterculture, or you're going to buy into it and be a victim of it. I don't think any man who wakes up and accepts the garbage that the Matrix tells them, that, yeah, it's okay to be depressed, like we just talked about. Yeah, you should be running around doing perkies and Adderall and consuming porn and sleeping with a bunch of hoes. And yeah, go to school and get an education and get in debt, and then go get a mortgage and get in debt, and then 9 to 5 and just slave away, and you'll be retired when you're 74. It's going to be fine. All the things they push, all the standardized mechanisms that a man's supposed to live his life by, I believe lead to crippling depression and sadness anyway. I don't think that makes anyone happy. So this war is twofold. You can either fight against the system and be its enemy like I am, or you can accept the system, and then you're going to be fighting against yourself in your head.
I'm sorry, that doesn't. There's things that he's saying that I agree with, but when it comes to uh, education, when it comes to going to university or going to college and so on, I mean, I don't see how that. Okay, when it comes to the moral issues that this perverse, degenerate Western society pushes on people, I can agree with him on that. But that just comes down to you having a moral ideology that you go by that will help you kind of defend yourself against these ideologies. Okay, so for example, I'm a Christian. I know corn is wrong. All right, my ideology tells me that these things are wrong anyway. So it doesn't matter how much society pushes this onto me. I'm not going to go for it because my ideology tells me that it's wrong. So you can't get me that way. But when it comes down to going college and things of that nature and having a 9 to 5, I mean, when it comes to that, I don't get that. And let me just mention one thing before you guys chime in. There's always going to be a matrix. There's always going to be someone in power. I mean, that's just there's always going to be someone in power. If what he means by matrix is the powers that be, if that's what he means by that, well, then we are always going to have someone in power. There's always going to be the powers that be. That's never going to stop. So I don't understand this point of view. When he's what is this war? Is it a war to do with morality? Is that the war? Is that what he's talking about? You know, because and when it comes down to 9 to 5, I'm sorry to say it, but most people, 80% of the human population have always worked 9 to 5. You know, I've always worked normal jobs. Not everyone hasn't always been rich. You know, no one, not 80% of the population doesn't get to the 20%. You know, to the 20% level. So what is he talking about? Please, someone make me understand what this man is talking about. You guys there?
Oh, we're here. I'm here.
Yeah. You want to chime in? KD, Hassan, what's going on?
Well, this is the first time I can believe, because usually when you're very good at debating. You're a master debater. Yeah.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, you're really good. You're really good. But you pretend to be confused as a guys, but you're really very smart and very capable. But I think you are confused at this point. And I can believe that you're confused about why this man seems to be presenting what is being so vague and then being so precise. Vague about who the enemy is. No, being precise about who the enemy is, but it's difficult to attach that to some sort of moral conflict. Because you say, why would having a 9 to 5 and a mortgage and having a sustainable way of life be such a threat? It's baffling, because most of the world I think what 2/3 of the world live below the poverty line. Most of
Yeah.
human history, you were dead by the time you were 50. Kings were dead probably in their mid-40s. Alexander the Great died at 30. A majority of people who were successful throughout history were the ones that survived to old age, right? And you'd have a lot of kids and marry multiple women, because most of your children would be dead before the age of 5, right?
Yeah.
And the punchline here, or should I say the critical point is, he goes, you can go down that path of what seems to be having a sustainable way of life, and you'll end up being in the war, and he's got his finger pointed to his head, having the war that's in your mind. The war that's in your mind, if you have a 9 to 5, which you should be thankful for in the first place, because you can go across the world and see people living on next to nothing and could only dream of having a 9 to 5 in the UK or in the West, right?
Yeah.
And you can live a sustainable life all the way to your late 70s, your mid 70s, right? And if you're still in some sort of pain, clearly the issue is you. And this is what he's doing. He's just taking advantage or marketing to people who, on a subconscious level, consider themselves to be like Alexander the Great, King Solomon, whoever it may be, who have this false sense of grandeur, that think that they can have 4 wives, and I just have 4 wives, and I can cheat on her and she can't cheat on me, and blah 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 blah, because great men in history. You look at the great men in history, they lasted throughout history because most men throughout all of human history weren't great. Well, the current population of the world now is what, 5 billion. How many human beings must have lived on Earth since the beginning of time? let's say somewhere between 50 to 100 billion. Such a large number, but it's probably roughly around that number, right? From what I last checked, I
I
googled
believe
it.
it's 117 billion.
117
It's
billion.
roughly one, like you're talking about how many humans have ever existed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
it's
that
around
right?
that figure.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. That's amazing.
We,
Okay,
we, we
you
couldn't
have
be
to also
exact.
include the
We couldn't
current
be
people now, 8 billion.
yeah, but
So
a very
they
large number.
so they say.
So they say. So they say. Well, the Earth has only been around for 6,000 years, apparently. So who knows?
There's a diagram actually.
Mm.
But yeah,
There's
but
a
let's say a very
diagram
large.
in like
But let's say a very large number. Let's go with that. Right?
Mm.
That's billions and billions of people, and all we can really remember is just a few great men who had a bright spark for a very short period of time in comparison throughout the human timeline, right? You have somebody like the Queen of England, who was the second longest reigning monarch in human history, 70 plus years, was the head of a. So I can hear clicking and typing. Is that UKD or? I can hear something in the background.
Can you still hear it?
oh yeah, so it's just
No,
my
it's is it?
It's
message
KD's fault.
notification. Sorry about that.
Oh, if you don't mind putting it on mute, it's a bit distracting. Sorry, bro. I appreciate it, bro. So yeah, you have these people that had a very short. For example, the Queen of England, right? I gave her as an example. One of the longest reigning monarchs, a woman who's lived, who's been queen, as so many empires have risen and fallen, right? Well, fallen in most cases. So many kings have come and gone. So many presidents have come and gone. So many new nations have been established. She's older than the state of Israel. Well, she became queen. Israel didn't exist as far as I'm aware. She must have been queen in 19. Maybe I'm aging her too much, but either way, one of the longest reigning monarchs throughout human history, at the head of an extremely large empire, right? And we haven't spoken about her. There's her funeral came and went. I think she's been dead and buried for almost a year now, or however long the time is. If somebody so famous and successful and capable and such a historical figure, right, has still she's been dead for a while. She still has her face on the money, right, of Canada, the UK, and I guess other British colonies, right?
Mm.
If she can be forgotten, who are you? If she's casually mentioned in some random podcast, why is this duplicitous conflict in your mind? Why is this conflict in your mind over having a 9 to 5 and having a mortgage and living life like the best of people? Because right now, as we live in our day-to-day, on this, myself, Octavio, KD, and whoever may be listening to this podcast in the UK or in the West, you're living like an emperor would have lived 100, 200 years ago. You're living like the most successful monarchs, most of the most successful monarchs throughout human history, right? I live probably better than Genghis Khan, right? I'm cold. I'm cool when it's hot outside. I'm warm when it's cold outside. Most kings didn't have that. When it was cold, it was cold. And you're going back to certain parts of human history. The war is again young men, and he points out military-aged men who just won their own Bugatti and their 4 wives and their fancy sunglasses indoors because they're so special, and just living out this fantasy that they've seen through social media. Men are just as vulnerable to Instagram and all this other stuff as women are. That's my argument. He's a pimp. He went from pimping young men, pimping young women to pimping young men. That's it. No moral objective.
But the thing is, the truth is this. The majority.
Sorry, Octavio. I forgot to mention one. Can I just say this part? I just remembered it now.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard your voice, I remembered it.
Yeah.
You may be projecting. It may be your Christian perspective that's projecting onto this man. You may be at war with immorality, and he may mention that in passing, right? You may be considering you may be projecting your own morality onto him. He may be using terms that you're accustomed to, right? immorality, decadence, depravity. We need to go to war against them. But you're not necessarily fighting for the same objectives. He may be fighting, because that's where the confusion may lie. He may be fighting for the objective of himself.
Well, this is what I'm trying to establish is
Yeah.
what's his objective? What's the purpose? But he has mentioned certain things which to me right now don't make when he mentioned moral issues, all
Yeah.
right, things like the decadence and degeneracy that the West pushes onto people, like the sexualization of children and so on. He mentioned those moral issues, corn and so on and so forth. He mentioned those moral issues that we are all aware of. And for the most part, yes, I agree with all of those sentiments. I completely agree with it. My problem is when he mentioned having a 9 to 5, and he mentioned that in bad light. He mentioned that as something that's not good. Paying for your mortgage, paying for your rent makes you a slave, because that's what he was trying to imply. What I'm wondering is, it's like, hold on, you always have the 80% of men who are working hard, and you always have the 20% of men who earn more than the 80%. Okay, there's always been a minority of people that earn more than the majority of people. That's always been the case. That's always been the dynamic all throughout human history. That hasn't changed. Even today, that hasn't changed. Even though the standards of living for the majority has improved significantly, but this reality hasn't changed. Okay, so he may be in the minority, and it's fine. He can be in the minority, but the thing is, for you to tell the 80% of men that a 9 to 5 means you're still slave to the system, it makes me wonder what kind of a war is this? What kind of a war? Because if it's a war on morality, then I'm with him. If it's a war on morality, then all you need to do is just get an ideology that fights these an ideology. When I say ideology, I mean religion, and something that helps you defend yourself against what the matrix, as you would call it, pushes onto people. All right, if that's just if that's all it is, all right, if this war is just about pushing this, it's about trying to get you to join them in their degeneracy, then fine. But if this war, if having a 9 to 5 is now considered to be,
A loss.
a loss, or you failed, that's the part where he loses me. Because I mean, what is he hoping to achieve? Like, I mean, because for us religious people, we believe that, well, the end is not on earth. You die and you go to, you meet God, and you are judged by God, and you either go heaven or hell, and so on. So we know that, this war doesn't end. And, well, it ends with God judging you. That's how it ends. But I'm trying to understand, does he want everyone to be driving Bugattis? And because that would be literally impossible for every single person to have have £1 billion in their account and drive around with Bugattis. I mean, who else will do all the, who's going to be the electricians? Who's going to be the who's going to do all the other jobs? Who's going to do the construction? Who's going to do all of that? This is the part that I don't get. That's the
Why
part.
don't you get it? Why don't you get it, if you don't mind me asking?
Why don't I get it? Because I want to understand. He says there's a war coming, and if I've got a 9 to 5, then that means I've lost the war. Sorry, I'm going to be a victim to this. I'm going to be a victim of this war. All right. So I'm thinking, okay, so what is,
What's the
you know
war? Where's the battlefield?
yeah,
Who's
it's
the enemy
about
soldiers?
being, what does it mean? What does it mean to win the war? That's what I want to know. Katie, chime in on this one. I want to hear your opinion on this one.
No, I
Katie?
think it's a spiritual war. I think that's what he's referring to, because back in those days, you had physical war, and they used to be like, on the battlefields. I think he's just referring to like a spiritual war.
But a 9 to 5 is not a spiritual war.
No,
A
no,
9
I'm
to 5, a 9
saying
to 5 is
no.
just
That's
a,
not.
yeah.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like when he's saying like what he's saying is that like you're like basically part of this like society because all these problems we're seeing, we're all part of it, and you're basically you're part of it.
But the thing is, how am I part of the problems in society if I have a 9 to 5?
No, exactly.
If I'm an
You-
average guy,
you're not,
right,
but
as an average man earning an average living, taking care of my family, how am I part of the matrix and part of this society? So does it mean I'm a slave because I'm earning an average living?
no, actually, he does look down upon the average man a bit. Like I don't have any problems with the average man. In fact, you can be educated and be an average man. Like I don't understand his points. Oh, you have to be rich and successful. Like not everyone's going to be like not every man out there is going to be a king. Like there's
Uh,
good just you
are, we,
there,
are we
there's going to be.
are we suggesting that he's at war with the average man?
No, I'm trying to find the connection. I'm trying to find how does an average man, I don't care what he thinks of the average man. I'm trying to find how is it that the average man, yeah, means being an average man means being a slave to the system.
Okay, we've practiced first principles, right? First principles being a scientific method to find a solution to a problem, right? So we
Mm.
established there's a war. There's established what a loss of victimhood or not victimhood, what a loss means, right? So there is. So the question is, who are we at war at, right? Where is the battlefield, or what's that loss, right? There's a variety of questions, right?
We are
So
a
if,
war against the matrix. Okay, the matrix is
whatever that means.
yeah, the matrix, the powers that be, is against human beings. All right.
Again, even the Matrix, that's such an elusive what Matrix means to you is not what it means to me. To me, it means it's a movie. That's what the Matrix means to me.
Yeah, yeah.
The Matrix is to other people, it's a system of control with evil entities at play. To other people, it's a system of control to keep the society together in civilization. Right? That term is far too elusive. All we've established so far is when you lose the war, you're an average man. Can we agree on that?
when you lose the war, you're an average man.
That's
But
what. That's how.
no, no,
That's how.
if you're an average man, you will be, from what I'm getting, is you will be consumed. You will lose the war, basically. You certainly no, you will be a victim of the war that's coming if you're an average man. All right.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, what is it that he's trying to win? What is it that he's trying to win? Because let's say everyone everyone was rich, was powerful, all right, and we managed to conquer the matrix or whatever. Okay, who would be in charge after that? Whoever was going to be in charge after that would also be, one could look at that and consider that to be the matrix, right? Consider them to be the matrix because they are now in charge of, let's say they toppled they got rid of the people that were controlling the matrix at first, and now they decided to take charge, right? So I'm really trying to understand. So
No, it's
okay.
just it's difficult to understand because you're using first principles somewhat, right? Trying to
Hmm.
take the basic information that he's giving us, right, and then establishing certain fundamental truths and moving forward from there. But you're forgetting, I think, in my opinion, that you're projecting onto him your own perception rather than projecting what information, using whatever you project on him, use it based on the information he's giving. rather than projecting, because you keep going to morality as the biggest loss or the
No, no,
biggest
no, no, no.
objective. That's your objective.
We can play it back again. He
No,
says,
if just press play from this moment onwards, because he's leading somewhere with this. I haven't seen the video, but I
all
think
right,
he's going somewhere with this. I can
all
see the
right,
finger on the bald head. Who knows where he's going with it?
all right. Let's go.
Because now you're your own enemy because you listen to the system and you hate yourself and you hate your life.
Yeah.
So what? It's interesting. No, but it's interesting the points you've made. It's giving me something to think about. It's certainly true. But that's why I'm gearing up for war so heavily, because this war, when people ask me why I don't try and avoid it in the two ways we just described, I don't think most people understand that this war is coming for everyone. It can't be avoided. You're either going to become someone like me who's fighting against it, the counterculture, or you're going to buy into it and be a victim of it. I don't think any man who wakes up and accepts the garbage that the Matrix tells them, that, yeah, it's okay to be depressed, like we just talked about. Yeah, you should be running around doing perkies and Adderall and consuming porn and sleeping with a bunch of hoes. And yeah, go to school and get an education and get in debt, and then go get a mortgage and get in debt, and then 9 to 5 and just slave away, and you'll be retired when you're 74. It's going to be fine. All the things they push, all the standardized mechanisms that a man's supposed to live his life by, I believe lead to crippling depression and sadness anyway. I don't think that makes anyone happy. So this war is twofold. You can either fight against the system and be its enemy like I am, or you can accept the system, and then you're going to be fighting against yourself in your head, because now you're your own enemy because you listen to the system and you hate yourself and you hate your life. Yeah. So what do you want to do? If you can't avoid fighting, do you want to turn on yourself or do you want to turn on your enemy? Every single part of me is on my team. My mind, my hands, my feet, everything, my teeth, you name it. If it goes to war, I've got every single weapon at my disposal. So when people say to me, why am I fighting this war? I say, you're in the war too. You're just going to be a casualty of it. You're going to be a forgotten name. Not even a name. You're going to be a number. In wars, it's interesting. In wars, if you look at any war, they'll talk about 12,000 people died here. And one of them was this guy. There's names and there's numbers. So if you're going to go to war, you can decide, do you want to be a name or a number? Because people are going to die. People are going to die regardless. And this is why I teach the things I teach. I say to men, listen, you need to become as strong as possible. You need to make a bunch of money. You need to prepare. You need to have 7 passports in 7 different countries. And you just start sitting there getting paranoid and panicking and getting things done. This is why I push masculine excellence, because when they come for you, when they come for us all, if you have no weapons to defend yourself, you're going to be one of the 12,000 in the ditch.
So will your passport, hold on.
Oh my God! I need a shower after that. Go carry
on. You made me cough, bro. Will your passport defend you from this war? Will your money defend you from this war? Because look, everything that he's mentioned comes down to, with the counterculture that he mentioned, is basically, for example, when I say corn is wrong, well, that's the counterculture right there. All right. So I'm part of that. All right. So to me, it's a moral battlefield. It's a moral, it's a war based on morality. So how is my passport? How is me earning stupid amounts of money is going to necessarily protect me from the war that's coming? That's the part that I don't get.
You don't get it, Octavio, because you're making yourself as part of the equation. You need to step out of his matrix that he set up and look from the outside in. You keep shifting it towards morality. You say, how is a passport going to protect you? How is your money going to protect you against this war? Well, you've already established in your mind that there is a war, but a war that a passport and money cannot resolve, because it's a moral war, because you're a Christian and you see everything from a Christian perspective. Your greatest threat is falling into sin and degeneracy and immorality. He's got a whirlwind, a marketing whirlwind. He pointed out drugs, school, whores, 74 years of age, and 9 to 5, all being symptoms that you've lost the war. I don't compare school and drugs. And I don't compare being 74-year-old man to having sex with a variety of whores. What's wrong being with, but he presents it. He says being a 74-year-old man, successfully living a long life, having a 9 to 5 and a career is equal to being a drug addict that went to school and had sex with a lot of whores. That's my first point. My second point is he says you're going to end up being depressed. I thought he didn't believe in depression. I thought he said depression is just made up.
No.
Now-
He said if you go along with what the Matrix is telling you to do, you're just going to end up being depressed anyway. No,
He said on numerous occasions, depression doesn't exist. It's something made up. I don't believe in depression.
no. He's saying that the consequences.
Not in this one, but he's sorry, I keep interrupting because I genuinely dislike this person. I genuinely think this person is a threat. I genuinely think there's a lot of people out there for some reason who need a lot of help, and he's cultivating that. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. What we are trying to do is, I'm trying to see what he's saying. Does what he's saying make sense or not? Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me because I'm not projecting.
No. I'm not projecting either.
How do you know you're not?
Everything that you've mentioned comes under morality. It's a moral warfare. Nothing that you've mentioned so far doesn't come under morality.
Having a 9 to 5, does that affect your morality?
No. That's the only thing. Remember, I made the distinction earlier. That's the only thing that I couldn't understand.
So it's miscellaneous. So because you can't understand it, that should be an indication to you that there's something off. Your instruments of measurement that aren't necessarily configured correctly to what he's presenting to you.
No, he's saying that
you pick up on the drugs, you pick up on the porn, you pick up on the hose because you're a Christian man and you see these things being opposed to morality and decency. And then he throws in things that doesn't match, like having a 9 to 5 and living a long and successful, healthy, normal way of life. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
right?
But that's what I'm trying to say. Having, for example, I got to I agree with everything else. Okay, we need to be part of the counterculture that goes against the culture, that goes against the culture that's telling us to do all these degenerate things. We need to be part of the counterculture and fight against that. Okay, cool, I understand that. These are moral issues. I have no problems with that. All right, I understand that. Now, when he goes into having a 9 to 5 means you're a slave to the system. I'm trying to understand whether logically that even is plausible, that even makes sense, since
that
only
makes
since only a very minority of people are high earners or are on that 1% kind of bracket. The majority of people are on that the majority
average
of people,
wage.
Exactly, they earn average wages and they live average lives, and that
If I can stop you there,
been the case all throughout human history.
If I can stop you there, right, it makes perfect sense to me, because his audience will enter into some sort of depression if they see themselves as being average. That's why he can gather their attention with a Bugatti. Do you know what a Bugatti is? Do you know how much it costs to make? Do you know how much money the Bugatti company makes off Bugatti?
I think
the first Bugatti. No, the baseline is about 1 million. The first ever Bugatti that they made was the Bugatti Veyron, right, or Chiron, or whatever it is, right? They built that original Bugatti as an academic exercise to see if it could be done. That Bugatti, from an engineering perspective, is absurd. It's 1,000 horsepower. No supercar needs to be 1,000 horsepower. That's the same horsepower as a 18-wheeler truck that does long haul rigs. It's an absurd car. It costs as much as a Lamborghini, an average Lamborghini, not the top end spec Lamborghini, an average Lamborghini, an average Ferrari, an average Audi R8, and probably an average 911 Carrera or something. All these 4 supercars put together is the same as just one Bugatti Veyron or Chiron or whatever it is, right? This is the older Bugattis, not these ones. It costs an immense amount of money to maintain. The Bugatti is a money wasting machine. When Vauxhall, or I think it's Vauxhall or VW, I don't know who makes these Lamborghinis or who
Mhm.
owns Bugatti. They were originally losing money on making the Bugatti because it was an engineering exercise. Could it be possible to make such an absurd car? It is engineeringly possible. You don't buy a Bugatti because it's an engineering masterpiece. That it's something so it's a waste of money. It's like a gold-plated bathroom or a Versace Porsche or something. This type of crap that people buy into when they go to Dubai. Just nonsense. Waste of money. Why would you buy something that's such a waste of money? To lure in people who think this is how you spend money. To
Because of
lure
money.
in victims because of vanity, right? So what do you say to a person who's tempted by drugs, tempted by whores, masturbates all the time, looks at school, which is education, as valueless because you can't, if you pay for university, you're in debt. Therefore, school is a waste of money. Is afraid of going into old age, living a long, healthy life, and it sees a 9 to 5 as imprisonment or enslavement. And then with all of this, he goes into depression. You'd say there's something wrong with you because you don't have a moral compass. You have an immoral compass. The reason you look down at masturbation is because you've become enslaved to it because you have impulse control issues. You look down at whores like most. I'm a religious person. I would say as religious as you are, Octavio. I would say you're very how can I say you're very committed to your faith. You pursue. You're very Christian. If I could give you such a, it'll be a compliment to you.
I'm Christian.
Ideally you'd be very Muslim.
I'm a bad Christian. I need to be a better Christian. But yeah, you're right.
But only a good Christian would say that. But you're doing well. Inshallah, one day you convert. All right. Have you ever? So here's my question to you as a Christian man. Have you ever sat around interviewing whores and telling them that they're whores?
No.
Because a Christian wouldn't do that. A Christian is encouraged to do good speech, lead by action. Same as a Muslim. Use good speech. You wouldn't call a whore anyway. You call her by name. Hey, Stacy, how are you doing? How's the family? How's you? Oh, you're not married yet. I encourage you to get married and blah, blah, blah. The gospel is referred to as the good news. That's what the translation is, right?
That's
Good news. The good news isn't you're a whore, you're a 304, you're poor, you're this. No, it's well, you should be promised forgiveness and good things. Same with Islam. It encourages. If Prophet Muhammad went around calling people weak and sinners and depression and agitated them with anxiety, nobody would convert to the faith. They all run away. You encourage people to good speech, good words. You limit impulse control. A lot of these people who he's projecting to have these issues. Ultimately, and then he goes on to say, because the question was, one of the questions that we were thinking of is, where is the battlefield? He says it's in the mind. He gave the answer himself. He says you're gonna be struck if you have everything that you want. And if having a 9 to 5 and having a regular job and a regular life gives you such anxiety that you enter into depression and you're going mad, and clearly you have a mental issue. So he pointed out the where the battlefield is. The other point I wanted to mention is, what is the biggest threat? What is the biggest indication of what the problem is with the people that he's talking to? He threatens them, as I mentioned before you played the tape. I haven't even watched this episode. I avoid watching this guy because I can see right through him immediately, right? And I appreciate that you're letting me ramble on it. Thank you very much.
Go on.
He said, you're gonna be forgotten. Now, do you remember that I just gave the example of the Queen, a woman who's I think the second longest reigning monarch of one of the largest empires in the world, of one of the strongest and most capable countries in the world. Her money is still on, her picture is still on the money, right? She's being forgotten.
What's wrong? Hold on a second. What's wrong with being forgotten?
If you are a narcissist with impulse control, with senses of grandeur, who's tempted by a Bugatti, being forgotten is worse than being dead. Because they're so insecure.
I have to.
But isn't that why you have a family?
Say that again, KD.
Isn't that why you have a family? So you don't actually become forgotten. Like, sure, the whole world might not know you, but if you have kids, then they can pass on your legacy.
it's a byproduct that your kids know you. But you have kids because it's the natural way of things. A man desires a woman. When a man and a woman desire each other, there is an intimate relationship. If you the byproduct of an intimate relationship is
Yeah.
children, and if you're gonna have children, you have the marriage, and
Do
you
you know
go
what?
from there. Yeah.
KD made a very important point. Very, very important point.
Go ahead.
You're because and also you also made a very important point, Hassan, when he says he has these thoughts of grandeur, these these this idea of himself as some kind of special being that the world should never forget, because he made the distinction between someone being regarded as a number and another person being regarded, being remembered for their name. But also KD made a very important point, because it's isn't your family supposed to remember you? um so, and that exposes his argument, because why do you want the world to remember you? You're putting off to you're putting off on earth to procreate. The people that you're closest to, which is your family, those are the ones who are supposed to remember you. So that ties into what Hassan said. These hopes of grandeur, these thoughts of grandeur that he has about himself, and it goes to such a level that he wants to be remembered as some kind of special human being. But the thing is it's like, why does he want to be remembered? To who? To what? What does he want to be remembered for? What is it? I'm trying to understand his position. That's what I'm really trying to understand. It sounds like a lot of vanity, because you should be remembered by your family. And if you've got a good nuclear family, if you've raised your children well, and you've done your job that you were supposed to do as a father, your legacy will remember you, your legacy will honor you, and they'll continue to honor you. So where these so I can only I can I can only look at what he's saying as an exercise in vanity. That's how that entire thing makes sense, because he wants to be remembered by the world. But for doing what? That's what I don't seem to understand. So he insults the average men that have always existed, and society has always needed the average man in order to do the jobs that everyone else kind of needs to survive in. We need electricians, guys. We need builders. We need all of that type of stuff, right? Um, so he takes the piss out of those guys. 9 to 5 is no good, blah blah blah. I'm all for working hard and always trying to earn more for your family, for yourself, in order to secure things at home. I'm all for that. But that's not the end and be all of all things. And Hassan, you made an important point. He looks like, it's almost, is it called the war room? His what is it?
The
His
war
bus-
room, yeah, the war room, and coincidentally, a few of them have been arrested for sex
What's his
trafficking.
business? The business where people have to pay £50 a month.
It's called the Real World. The Real World, where you go online to learn how to make money online,
It's almost
but
as
you
if
have to pay for it.
it's almost when he talks, it's almost as if he's advertising to those guys. It is, he has to, it's his business, of course. He has to consistently advertise it. So, but the thing is, so to me, this just proves that he's not making any sense at all. He's not making
He's
it.
he, sorry.
He's using, hold on, he's using the matrix for profit. He's using the matrix to benefit himself. He tells people that the matrix are doing all these degenerate things. That
You're spitting, bruv. You're spitting. You're spitting. You're spitting.
he uses the matrix to. He says that Yeah. So this guy, I just saw the message. Yeah, he's using the Matrix uh to benefit himself by saying, "Look at what the Matrix is pushing onto us. Look at what the Matrix is doing. Look how evil the Matrix is." But then the final message, the message that comes after that, is not one that encourages an ideology that will allow that person to fight against this degeneracy, which is what religion does. The message that comes after that is, you need to make more money. You need to be, and I understand as a man that we all need to make more money. We all need to advance in life in order to, in order to serve our families better. Money is very important, but but he but that is that what it means to beat the Matrix? Because he took the piss out of the nine to five guy, and when he talked about having the tools to fight the Matrix, what he was really talking about is having some passports. He only went as far as saying, you need to have some passports, you need to have, a certain amount of money. So how are you going to beat the Matrix with that? If they control the globe, how are you going to beat the Matrix with that? Seriously, if the Matrix is that powerful and they control the globe, what's your passport going to do? It makes, you see, me as a Christian, I look at the world as the prince of this world is Satan, and the Satan controls everything. But I know that the end will not be here on earth. The end will be when all humanity is judged, and when I die, I will be judged. When everyone dies, God is judging them as when we die. So my end goal is heaven. My end goal is not to achieve some kind of um, utopia on earth. That's not my end
Yeah, I
goal.
think it's a morality issue. I think it's definitely like a morality issue because money won't fix everything. Like, if you're missing your soul, then what good is money, right?
Exactly, bro, KD. Exactly. It makes no sense at all because I mean, if the Matrix is who he says it is, if the Matrix is who he says it is, a very powerful force, then they have more money than you. Then they have more power than you. Then how is money going to? How is look at what happened to him? He went jail, and all of his bank accounts were cancelled. All of his bank accounts were all shut down. Like
Great point. This is a
that's
man with various passports and can't go anywhere. Thanks very much for the advice.
exactly. It's like, hold on, you've got all these passports, you've got all this influence, you've got all this power, and then when the Matrix came for you, you were locked up, bro. So how is this the best method of fighting against the Matrix? And this is the point that I'm really trying to get at. You say there's a war coming. What are you telling me? What is my what's my weapons? What's the weapons I need to be using right now? Is it passports? What is it? Is it billions of dollars, billions of pounds? What is it? What's the weapon? Because when it came down to you, bro, they shut you down. That was it. You couldn't move. You couldn't do it. If it can happen to you, it can happen to any of us. So how can that be the best method of fighting the Matrix? How can be the best? How can that be the best method of fighting this war that's coming? I mean, I have
You,
another solution. I have another
you,
solution. Yeah, go on.
you do have another solution, which is fair enough.
Yeah, because
That's
I
that's
believe
that's your thing.
I believe changing the minds and hearts of people is what's going to beat the Matrix. So if I can help someone, if I can help someone turn to God, okay, and stop engaging in promiscuity, stop what do you call it, stop fixating on material or on just materialistic things in order to indulge yourself in instant gratification. If I can get someone to start doing the right thing, if I can get someone to stop believing that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man, this is me helping society. because I know that now that he has changed and he believes otherwise, or he believes in the truth, now what's going to happen is he's going to be a better productive citizen for society, because he no longer believes in that degeneracy. So his choices will have a good impact on society, um, rather than a bad impact on society. The reason why society is the way it is because it's not because of the matrix. The matrix does help, but it's because of the choices. People are choosing the matrix rather than, let's just call it the matrix, right? People are choosing the matrix
I
instead
just
of.
believe that like they're. I just think they're missing God or something. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah, that's what
think.
I'm saying. They're choosing the matrix
Yeah.
instead of God. They're choosing
You
what's wrong instead
you're
of what's right.
thinking you're sorry. I just you're thinking too. Maybe you're positive. Sorry if you wanted to say something else and I interrupted. I might.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Positive. I hate that word positive.
What's the word then? Optimistic. You think too much of these people. One thing somebody pointed out to me, well, not to me personally, it was in a YouTube video. About the war room is, in the war room you pay 5,000 to join, and in the war room all you're pretty much doing is boxing and just doing military training in the end. Boxing, and it was MMA, or what's it called, kickboxing, and a variety of other tasks. And in the end,
You
you're
know,
provided with
I
food.
wanted to actually join this time
Your
last
wife,
summer. No,
did
this
I?
time last summer, I
Yeah.
wanted to join the war room, but then yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Go, carry on, Katie.
No, I'm saying this time last summer in July, I think 2022, I desperately wanted to join the war room, but then I thought
What would
you're
go
paying
in,
all that
what
money.
what would go in, yeah, what would go into Romania to paying £5,000? What was it that you're looking for that you couldn't find online or through talking to people, and just it being self-reflective, that you couldn't find?
Because remember, I told you when when Octavia was shot, like he's from my town, so I
Yeah,
had like a sense of boost, like a sense of confidence that I didn't have before. Cause yeah, cause I had personal home stuff and everything, but
sure.
like I had that revived confidence. Cause I
Okay,
used to
so
be I used to be terrible. I couldn't speak in public. I was really shy. Like I couldn't speak like this. What 3 4 years ago. But
would you
then
say you were vulnerable?
oh, definitely. I didn't know what I was doing when I was what 18, 19. I was going to college and everything, and I just didn't know what I was doing because I didn't have any guidance, and I was that emasculated man. Like I have to be honest. So
I appreciate the honesty. I
once he
respect.
came, yeah, once he came, when I found out about him, I was really like almost a blind follower,
What
and
would you have
then
now? Sorry to interrupt. Now look. Oh, you were about to say something, and now then he came.
yeah, so he came a few years ago when I discovered him. Yeah, so when he like I sort of got that revived confidence, and that's why I was blindly following him. And then I just started to analyze what he was doing and everything. And I don't consider him a role model. Like he never claimed to be one actually. All these idiots who say he's a role model, he never actually said it from his own mouth, and yet they still attach that label onto him.
A role
But,
model to young men.
but
But
KD,
Yeah, he
yeah,
never said that he was.
there's loads of things I've learned from Andrew Tate, and Hassan is also right. What is it that you can't learn by through self-reflection? But the thing is that there's loads of things that he says that are good, things
but
like.
we may be brushing past a point that is quite important, that I just want to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
KD, if you saw your 18-year-old self, looking back now, and you saw your 18-year-old self, or maybe a younger brother or somebody similar that would have been in a similar situation, would you have recommended them? And as now that you've matured and you've found that certain level of confidence, that is self confidence enough that you can speak to strangers like me and Octavio and express certain personal vulnerabilities, certain vulnerable moments in your life. Would you recommend that person listen to somebody like Andrew Tate, or would you say you don't need to be wealthy to be wealthy? You don't need this person to guide you. It's all within you, and you just need to establish certain character traits or whatever it may be.
So you're saying if the 18-year-old version of myself met Andrew?
No, if you saw an
Or if I saw
18-year-old
my 18-year-old son,
or somebody similar, because your 18-year-old self is a bit too personal, but somebody who's young, who's vulnerable, lacks a little bit of self-confidence, would you recommend somebody like Andrew Tate, or would you recommend a more holistic, more fulfilling path rather than somebody like Andrew Tate?
Well, the thing is, like, it depends, like, because I also look up to like guys like Ali and everything, and Malcolm X and everything. So I would say like he would need like a male role model, like especially if he doesn't have a father around, if he's not around. So you need that male influence. Otherwise, what happens is young men will just gravitate towards any type of man, and Andrew's filling that void. And I see 14-year-olds typing up on the internet, and I think, oh my goodness, you can't take your guidance from someone like him, because he's not perfect. He's not he never claimed to be perfect, and he makes many mistakes and everything, and it's just dangerous for these young men to just blindly follow everything. Because only last year I was just blindly following everything. It was only until probably this year that I actually started to wake up and started to question, why are these men even preaching this stuff? And they don't know everything, and they of course everyone claims to know everything, but really they don't know everything. So
But
that's why
it's not, Katie. It's not about knowing everything. It's about it's about, for example, there are things that I can take from Hassan that I can learn from. There are things that I can take from Andrew Tate. There are things that I can take from KD. There are things that you can take. It's about knowing what is good and taking what is good. So, for example, no one is perfect. No one is 100% good. No one is. But the thing is are there good things about every single person? Are there good things that you can learn from every single person? Yes, there is. It's about taking those good things and applying it into your life so that you become a better human being. And I think there's a lot to learn
of
from
course, yeah.
when it comes to Andrew Tate. When he talks about a man needs to make money, that is very true. When he talks about a man needs to be physically strong and fit, that is extremely true. That is good for you. So those things you can learn from. When he talks about a man being assertive, that is very true. There is nothing wrong with that. That doesn't go against my beliefs personally. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's loads of
But
things.
the problem is that not everyone is clever enough to like distinguish his speech. Like, there will be blind followers, unfortunately. Like, people will blindly follow him, and they
And
still are.
what's wrong with blind following Andrew Tate, do you think?
Because he's not a perfect individual. There's been men better than him, and they weren't perfect either. So he's not supposed to be that angel that you just blindly follow, because he does say a lot of misguided stuff.
For example?
What about the money situation, about the average man and everything? There's nothing wrong with being the average man. In fact, it should be your superpower. You're the average man.
So you can take from him, but there's a worry that he'll be taking away from you as well. He'll be taking away your level of self-respect or respecting the fact that you are an ordinary man, and that's okay. Taking away your desire to keep away from impulse control, right? He uses words like war. as if a 9 to 5, having a regular job and going on to old age is similar to having bombs dropped on your head. He places a movie in people's minds. I mean, he uses words like Matrix, having multiple passports. So he's saying Matrix, you're either Neo in the Matrix or you're 007 or whatever fantasy that he can put in people's minds. So clearly he's not trustworthy enough to have such an influence over young men. It seems like that's where we're coming to. That's the conclusion that we're coming to.
Yeah, but the thing is, I would say, Hassan, it's up to the person to be able to judge.
Why?
Because it's called personal responsibility. We all have personal responsibility. We all have to. Yes, society does have an influence on us. Yes, there are people that are influential that will have an influence on us, but we also have the ability to think for ourselves and the personal responsibility to make the right choice that we think is good for us. So, for example, I would say if someone follows Andrew Tate blindly, and in the end they end up they end up worse off, I would say it's your fault, because you should know that everything anything can influence you, but it's up to you to analyze what's influencing you and to find out whether what's influencing you is good or not good. So, and then make a decision as to whether you want to follow it or not follow it.
Let's say you're. Can I present a hypothetical to you, because you may be seemingly unaware, or you're not certain over how much of an influence Andrew Tate has, and there's a skewed level of responsibility in comparison to the individual.
Say that again.
So you said there's a certain level of there's a minimal level of personal responsibility in how much you're influenced, right?
Not minimal.
A baseline. When I say minimal, I mean there needs to be a certain level of responsibilities one must take, right? Right. Yeah. I think you're being a bit unfair in the sense that you're not taking the variables into account. Andrew Tate is extremely famous. Most of his audience are military-age males, as he likes to present it, basically young men. And young men are as easily to influence as young women. They're naive. As from what I hear, the prefrontal lopex, or whatever it's called, isn't fully developed until over the age of 25. Meaning you have limited impulse control, right? Okay, sure. Let's not be too charitable. But let me present to you a hypothetical. You don't like it, I'll present a hypothetical. Let's say a drug dealer moves into your area. Would that concern you?
No.
When I say a drug dealer moves into the area, I mean he's actively selling drugs. He's open for business in your area.
Because the society will just call the police and have him arrested.
So you're concerned enough to call the authorities?
Of course, he's a drug dealer. He's bad.
Okay, but then again, can't you just take the path of, well, any people should take up personal responsibility and not buy his drugs? Why can't you use that argument? As his brother actually used that argument as well. By the way.
No. Me. I wouldn't buy his drugs. If the community is going to call the police on him, then they wouldn't buy his drugs, would they?
Do you recommend that the society, the community calls the police?
Absolutely.
Okay, why? Shouldn't they just take up responsibility themselves and not to buy his drugs?
For example, imagine I was living in a completely Christian country, right? And someone comes into the community and they start selling corn magazines.
Oh, this is 1997. Okay, cool.
Yeah. They start selling magazines, right? Or they start selling whatever, right?
Let's say drugs, please. Let's use that example.
Yeah, sex toys, drugs, or whatever. I wouldn't like it either. It doesn't matter whether it's drugs. It doesn't matter whether it's X-rated stuff. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's wrong, then it's up to the community to do something about it.
So the community should take action, you're saying?
First of all, it's up to the community to not engage in it. All right. It's up to and that takes personal responsibility. They started selling it. All right. Okay, cool. The community has to do something about that. All right. So first, you don't engage in it. You don't buy their product at all. And if it's illegal, you have to call the police, and you have to let them know about what's going on. Why? Because you care about the society. You care about,
Ah,
you
okay.
care about the community. Yeah.
Okay, so you're worried about contagion because some people can't establish self-control and discipline. And if that door is open, it will spread wider. For example, I use drugs as a perfect example because a person will take drugs and then their life will go into disarray and go into decay. That may affect their children. That may affect the crime rates because where there's drugs, there's crime. Where there's drugs, there are broken families, and because a mother taking drugs or a father taking drugs destroys the family pretty much immediately, right? So crime goes up, the family's broken, all types of immorality flow from there onwards, right? So, do you agree with everything I've said so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, personal responsibility not to be brainwashed is acceptable when the threat isn't so contagious. It's only in cases of something that can have an isolated effect. Andrew Tate
Wait,
is a man who's
hold on. Are you guys
presenting
in?
chaos.
No, but I don't
Oh,
think it's contagious. Um,
He's
I
the
don't.
most Googled man in the world. His ideas across the world.
No,
I,
no,
I
he.
have I have people in Africa messaging me. Andrew Tate's funny and blah blah blah. Young
No, no,
man.
no,
he
no, no.
was, but not some.
He makes roughly 150 million pounds a year.
Yeah, I don't think it's contagious at all. I think what's happened is the Western
His
world.
message isn't. His influence isn't the most Googled man in the world.
No, no, he is the most Googled man in the world, but I don't think his message is contagious.
Not at the moment.
I don't think it's contagious at all. And the reason why I don't think it's contagious at all is uh, because of what's happened. What's happened is men in the West have been feminized to such a level that it has become almost illegal to be a man. It has become almost illegal to express masculinity. All right. So he came and filled that void. That's all he did. Now
He
that
didn't
does
do that. He
hold,
didn't. He did. He didn't.
hold,
I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're projecting. You're presenting him as a man who is there to prevent the. You're not adjust to the right frequency. You're hearing what you want to hear when it comes to him. In my opinion, with all due respect, he says certain words: decay and immorality and degeneracy, and you hear these words. And a man, masculinity is this. It triggers your perception, but that's not his message. His message is get rich now. I can teach you. Subscribe to my thing. Give me money. That's it. And
I, I
150
disagree.
million pounds a year. 150 million pounds a year.
I
Five
disagree.
thousand. 5,000 pounds. Okay.
I disagree. The reason why I disagree is because I understand the impact, the ideologies that came out of the Enlightenment period. I understand the impact of these ideologies in society. Because I understand of the impact of these ideologies in society, I can understand why providing, because what you're talking about is what his motives are. All right.
Yes.
And he's a salesman. Well, Hassan, I've got news for you. You're not
Go
Andrew
ahead.
Tate. So to find out what
That's news to me.
to find out what motivates Andrew Tate, you'd have to be Andrew Tate. We all have to make money. All right. You might not like, you know,
Do you think
uh,
he's motivated by morality and God?
hold hold on.
I'll
He's
mute myself.
he's a businessman who makes money. Okay, he's a businessman. That's all it is. But before that, he was a fighter. Then he went into webcam, and then he made his money how he made his money. I'm sure he did some smart business moves. He went into the casino business. He went into all of that. So it's not as if he really needed to. He was at the war room. I always forget what it is. This thing that you pay £50 per month for. Okay,
The
what
real world.
yeah, what really resonated with the with young boys all over the world, what really resonate with them is is the tone that he used. He's very assertive when he speaks. It doesn't matter whether he's right or wrong. It's very assertive. It's that confidence that he exhibits. It's that
I don't
tone.
think so. I
It's
don't
that
think so.
tone, hold on, wait. It's that tone that he exhibits. That due to, when you compare that to how how men have been feminized in the Western world, that was very attractive because it spoke to their masculinity. Now, if he decided to make money out of it, yeah, so what? People make money out of all sorts of things. But the thing is, but what we can't deny is that feminism has had a huge impact on the male psyche of the Western world. And when he came with that assertiveness, when he came with that confidence, when he came with that resonate. I'm sorry, but that resonates with masculine men. Men like that, because that's how we are. This is who we really are inside, and if he decided to make money, he decided to make money out of it.
It's every time you speak about this guy, I have to disagree with you because I'm so threatened by this person so much because he
Why?
presents so when he as I said, when he converted to Islam, I was like, I got into arguments on Twitter with like some of his friends. He's got like other influences, and they just my blood was. I had quite a few on my old Twitter. I had quite a few followers. Quite popular. I got Twitter because of COVID. I was bored, so I just downloaded Twitter and started tweeting for hours. I became quite popular. I'll be honest. I'm a very funny guy. I'm sure you know. So I'm quite popular. See, I got you laughing. I got you laughing. See, oh yeah. I delete all the time because it takes so much of my attention. I'm a very argumentative person, hyper intelligent. My perspicacity is unmatched. My unmatched perspicacity, right? But but when he converted to Islam, my blood was boiling. I was fuming. How can this person so low in character, so selfish, so narcissistic, so hollow, so dishonest, just embrace the faith? It just doesn't make sense. And then still not change externally and still be just a threat to society as much as he was before. But again, I'm not the turner of the hearts. Allah is the turner of the hearts. It is up to Allah who enters the faith and who exits the faith. I'm thankful that I'm a Muslim. And far beyond my station is it to say who is a Muslim, who isn't a Muslim, who can convert, who cannot convert. That's beyond. It's unforgivable, or it's immoral for me to question his faith, which I'm not. But again, we as the Muslim community who pay attention to this person really need to have some self-reflection. Anyway, so you said quite a few things. You said they were attracted to his tone and his masculinity. I just think you're maintaining you're projecting again, right? You're assuming that people are attracted to him and give him attention the same reasons you do. Often on Twitter, he'll quote famous people and he'll say, am I as famous as this person? And then he'll do a little vote. Like I'm sure you've seen it, KD, where he says, am I as famous? Who's more famous, this person or that person? Who's richer, this person or that? And he compares himself to those people. There's a bit of banter involved. There's a bit of marketing involved. It's not something to be taken too seriously. But here's the important part. He compares himself to other people.
He got letters like they was calling him Muhammad Ali, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, and everything. I just thought that's too far because he's not on their level.
Here's one person he compares himself often to, and it was for a short period of time. Actually, I remember seeing it quite often in a short period of time, but it was strange. Cristiano Ronaldo. He says, am I as rich as Cristiano Ronaldo? Am I as famous as Cristiano Ronaldo? Who's a better football player? You say his confidence, and I'm referring to Octavio here. Octavio, you say his. Are you still there, Octavio?
I'm still here. I'm listening to you.
I appreciate it because I can't see you. I can't see you, so I thought internet connection.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
So you say his tone, his masculinity, his assertiveness. These are qualities and traits that you admire, but the majority of his followers don't. They pay attention but that's not why they admire him. Their desire to speak publicly successfully and to control a room isn't what motivates them. I don't think so. because he's got the Bugatti. He's promoting materialism. He's promoting 5 or 15 different passports and a variety of issues, and he can a variety of materialistic things, shallow things. And he points out to, for example, on his Twitter, am I as famous as Cristiano Ronaldo? Who's a better footballer, me or Cristiano, whatever it is? Because people are obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo as well, and he can't even speak English properly. He's good.
Bro, again, you're making the
here's the clincher though. Here's the real clincher. We've watched him talk about a war. We watched him talk about a solution to the war, and not one moment did he mention God. Shouldn't that be ringing alarm bells for you as a Christian?
But I'm not trying to conform him to my ideology.
I think you are.
Hold on a second, bro. Again, you're making the cardinal mistake of thinking for millions of people that like him. Bro,
I don't need to see in your heart to know where your intentions are. I don't need to see in your mind to know what you're thinking. Your actions are determined when you buy a Bugatti, right? A car that doesn't make sense from an engineering perspective, that costs money to maintain, you have to show it off because it's an item to lure people in. He's a salesman selling himself, selling his courses, going from one victim group to another, from vulnerable young women who want to show their private parts online to make money. I don't know why we keep brushing past that way. He was so callous.
Let me finish my point. Katie,
go ahead.
Katie, you say something?
Yeah, you were. Please go.
No, I was asking Hassan.
Yeah.
Did you see that the Eddie Redzovich interview he did? Like he did it last year. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. This is before he converted. Yeah. I saw bits of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That changed my. I think I told
perception.
you that video.
I think you mentioned Eddie.
Changed my outlook
of him.
That interview. No, of religion. Like before that, I wasn't as religious, so that what changed me because he was talking about like how religion kept society together and everything, and also he doesn't seem like he converted because of a warrior aspect. He kept saying like how Islam was just conquering other faiths. In the like within the first 10-15 minutes, he was saying like if one faith dies and the other survives, that tells you everything about that faith. And
which is kind of
dumb. Which was dumb. I think that was dumb because I think that was dumb. But I think he definitely converted because he has that warrior's heart.
I think he can. I can't.
Guys, look, it's actually very, very, very simple, right? It's not that difficult. Of course, I do understand what you're saying, KD. Absolutely, when it comes to religion, the fact that he always forgets God, the fact that he always forgets to add God into the equation, he just looks at the. Well, I actually thought that how he was representing Islam,
Well, he was celebrating Christmas.
Hold on.
Just the other day.
I think the way he was representing Islam was, he was forgetting the God aspect of Islam, and he was more worried about other aspects of what he thought Islam is about. And to be honest with you, but listen, the reason why he resonates with so many of the young men in the West, it's only because of not necessarily of what he says, but actually, it is also because of what he says, because he was talking openly against feminism, he was talking openly about gender roles and the importance of gender roles, and he was talking about how society and then anytime he spoke about gender roles, anytime he spoke against feminism, he spoke with authority, he spoke with he spoke with confidence, and this is what men lack today. They lack that level of masculinity, and this is why so many men, and the tone that it's the tone that he used, that's what resonated with so many men. And then he kind of proved it. He proved it. He said, look, listen, I work hard and here's my lifestyle. All right. And of course, men are going to gravitate to him because I'm sorry to say it, but feminism has feminized Western men to such a level that when Andrew Tate came, he filled that void. He honestly and truly filled that void. And that was the beauty about what happened to KD. Yeah, and that's basically, it wasn't necessarily that he was saying the best of things. And did he decide to cash in on that? He decided to cash in. So I agree with Hassan on that. Absolutely. He decided to cash in. You know, is an intelligent, but he was mostly what he was talking about was generals, and he was speaking harshly about it. He was being very direct about it. You know, a woman's job is to stay at home. You know, I take care of everything, I provide for everything. Your job is to stay at home and to obey me. That's it. I'm sorry to say, but most men in the West don't speak like that. You know, they tiptoe around the issue. Most men in the West have accepted 50-50 relationships. You know, that's how most men are. They're scared of talking to their women. They're scared of being assertive. They're scared of being traditional. Most men are not traditional anymore. So when he came along, he filled that void. And when he filled that void, men, of course, gravitated to him because that's how the natural order of things is. Men are supposed it's God, men, women, child. That's the natural order of things. So a man is supposed to be assertive. A man is supposed to be confident. A man is supposed to be a protector. A man is supposed to be a provider. And a man is supposed to be confident about these things, you know. And unfortunately, men in the West are no longer like that. And this is why he resonated with so many men. So to me, if that was a business move, it was a great business move because loads of men joined his program, and now they're paying £50 a month in order to become more masculine. So yeah, it was a great business move. But
it's that you're that's very clever that you said that. Very clever.
It was a great business move. I completely respect it. But the thing is, it doesn't change the fact that the reason why men gravitate to this man is because of that. What special talent did he have? Was he a great football player? No. When he won what he did the fighting. Is it UFC? What did he do? What was that?
UFC. It's definitely not UFC. UFC would be something special. It's some random
kickboxing.
independent, apparently owned by the mafia. Owned by the mafia. Some in Timbuktu. No, sorry, that's
No. They were
but they were so legit. We never seen their matches. That's how legit
it was kickboxing.
Nobody cares.
I never heard of it. I didn't know. So when I look at it, it's like, what is it that made him really famous? Do you see what I'm saying? So when I
follow combat sports. He was very good.
Yeah, but hold on a second. There was nothing that really made him that famous. I didn't know him until he started speaking.
And one word. I'll tell you what made it famous. One word. It starts with a C, ends with a D.
What is that? C ends with a D.
The cough. Can't say it because of the algorithm.
Oh. There's that too. Look. He's good at talking. All right. He's good at projecting. He's good at talking. He's good at announcing himself. Is good at making his points. But the thing is, what makes him it's the confidence behind what he says that makes him relevant. And he understands the history. He understands the impact that certain ideologies have had in this society, and he exploited it. I don't know. I can't say he exploited it because I don't know that man's intentions. I'm not him. I don't know him. But hold on, guys. Let's just carry on with the rest of the reaction, right? Let's hold on a second.
So at least when they kill me, they know who they killed. At least they'll say they killed 12,000 men and Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
At least I get that. You have to aim for something. But this war can't be avoided, and everyone at home doesn't seem to realize
Here's the thing that, like, I'm going to put you a little bit at ease and scare you at the same time.
I'm ready.
They killed Jesus, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, they killed God.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wanted it to happen. Thank
Yeah.
God he did. But here's the craziest part. Hey, man, this is the way of life.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the way of life. And I don't sit around anymore, and I don't fear it. And when you talk about pride and you talk about all the stuff that we were talking about, I found this new confidence where I walk in a room and I just own it immediately. And it's a new way of thinking. My confidence comes with the Lord. Every room I walk into, this meeting, I said, God, you go before me.
Yep.
You take my tongue. You take my mind.
Yep.
You take my body.
Yep.
When you walk into a room and you have this type of faith, hypothetically,
Yep.
say I'm an idiot.
Yep.
Say I am completely a nutcase.
Yep.
I guarantee you I outworked the old George
Yep.
that didn't have that faith.
Oh, absolutely. And you can also apply the same to fighting. Like if you look at the Islamic fighters, they say, "All glory to God." God's already decided. I'm just gonna go in there. They're so calm.
Yeah, and by the way, that's scary.
It's
dude.
super scary.
Yo, if you walk into a dude and he's just super calm,
it
that's
doesn't care.
fuck all that. I don't even want to be here anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like if I were to agree, and if I were to do a fight now, I know that's in God's hands. So I'd be as calm. I'd be nervous, of course, and I'd want to be nervous, but I'd know, like, look, this is in God's hands. God's already decided. Allah is the best of planners. He will decide if I need to win and destroy this man, or if I need to lose and learn a lesson. Then it's
But
up to
that's
God.
working off of fear, not faith.
Right.
Faith is so beautiful and you could use it, and fear is such a poison, bro. And I don't know if you've really hung out with people that have fear. It's an addictive personality.
Oh, it's sticky.
It's very sticky.
Yeah.
Very sticky. Have you ever watched something on TikTok or Instagram and then all day you're just thinking about it and you're like, this motherfucker can't leave my brain,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I am now
Guys,
limiting myself on what I'm absorbing.
Bro, I don't talk. I want to make this very clear. One of the best things about money is I've managed to create my reality. Absolutely. I don't talk to anyone I don't want to talk to. If you come to me and say, we can make $100 million, but I don't like your shirt, then you can get fucked. That's my life now, because I don't need money and I don't like you. So that's who I am, right? So I've created my reality. Absolutely. And the number one thing I will not do is talk to negative people. I don't want to hear. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what happened. If all you do is complain, you are not around me, because it is sticky. It's sticky to you. It's sticky to the universe. It leaves a residue. I don't want to hear it. Everyone around me is happy. And not only happy, we're the kind of people, if we're in a trench and we're getting shelled.
It sticks
Please.
to the universe.
Please. Oh my God, this guy.
That's not very Islamic, is it?
I didn't even listen. I didn't hear that last part, but you can rewind it back a few seconds. When you start playing, I just need like 5 minutes just to cool off from the BS
That was it. Remember the point of this reaction is Andrew Tate says that there's a war coming. So I'm trying to understand, what does he mean by this war?
Every second you play a few seconds of this guy, he just exposes himself more and more. So God was spoken about for the first time in this little clip that we've watched so far, right? By the other guy, the Christian guy. Well, the other guy. I don't want to refer to the fact that he's a Christian, and but the other guy mentioned God. He had to inspire. He had to shift the discussion that way. And what does Andrew Tate shift it to? He says, "Oh yeah, the Muslims, they can go to war and they'll be fine, and Allah's done it." And what was it? Something like Allahu Akbar or something like this, whatever, right?
No, he said, the Muslim fighters. When they go to a fight, because they say, oh, it's in Allah's hand.
Yes.
So they're not even worried. They're not even worried. They that it's in God's hand. It's in God's hands.
Which is an unfortunate indication of who he's referring to as Muslims. These people that go to war and have nothing but faith to guide their. No. He's talking about terrorists. That's who he's talking about. He's talking about ISIS. He's talking about Hamas. He's talking about these lunatics. It's okay. That's who he's talking about. He's talking about lunatics, because when the Saudi army goes to war, they don't say Allahu Akbar and it's in God's hands. They just do their job. They just go and drop the bombs they need to drop. They fight this. There's no need for great faith. It's just the job, because it's not a holy war. Why would you talk about Allah unless it's a holy war?
I think they're talking about when they go and fight in the ring, like boxing. When they go,
he's UFC fighters.
If do you want to rewind it? Do you want to rewind? Do you want to rewind it? Just a little bit, because I'm certain he's talking about terrorists.
No. He's not.
He's a kickboxer. He's
was a
coming
king.
from that.
He was.
Fear.
He-
It's an addictive personality.
Oh, it's sticky.
It's very sticky.
Yeah.
Very sticky. Have you ever watched something on TikTok or Instagram and then all day you're just thinking about it and you're like, this
Yeah.
motherfucker can't leave my brain,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I am now limiting myself on what I'm absorbing.
Bro, I don't talk. I want to make this very clear.
I think this before.
One of the best things about
Yeah, I
money
think
is
it's
I've
before.
managed to correct.
I'm an idiot.
Yep.
Say I am completely a nutcase.
Yep.
I guarantee you I outworked the old George
Yep.
that didn't have that faith.
Oh, absolutely. And you can also apply the same to fighting. Like if you look at the Islamic fighters, they say, "All glory to God." God's already decided. I'm just gonna go in there. They're so calm.
Yeah, that's and by the way, that's scary.
It's
dude.
super scary.
Yo,
You see that?
He said fighters, but let him play a few more seconds.
you walk into a dude and he's just super calm.
That's it doesn't care.
Fuck all that. I don't even want to be here anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like if I were to agree and if I were to do a fight now, I know that's in God's hands. So I'd be as calm. I'd be nervous, of course, and I'd want to be nervous, but I'd know, like, look, this is in God's hands. God's already decided. Allah's the best of planners. He will decide if I need to win and destroy this man, or if I need to lose and learn a lesson. Then
Okay, stop. Okay, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. You're right.
Of
Okay,
course
so
I was
scratch
right.
it.
Of course I was right.
You and Katie, thank you very much. Very good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of
Okay, because
frustrated about it.
I genuinely don't like it, and it's not me projecting. It's me hearing the same ignorance over and over again that ultimately misleads people and misguides people. For example, he said, "What did he say? Allah is the best of planners."
Mm.
That's a
Wait.
very common. Sorry,
You believe that, right?
I believe it in context.
What do you mean?
Because I'll tell you what I mean. That Allah is the best of planners is the end of a verse, and it's a very specific verse, and it's misquoted consistently by ignorant people who haven't read the verse, who are just repeating what they hear because it sounds nice. Allah is the best of planners. What chapter is it? What verse is it? And what is it referring to?
But you do believe that Allah is the best of planners, right?
In specific instances, I'm not saying that the devil can outplan him. I'm not saying that men can outplan him. I'm saying I know the verse, I know the chapter, I know what it means.
So if
It's
the
refer-
devil can't outplan him, the human can't outplan him, then God must be the best of planners.
Okay, so it doesn't. It's a bit like saying if human beings on average are this size, and the planet is this size, and God is bigger than all of them. Clearly, God is weighs the most. It's nonsense. It's nonsense, right? You wouldn't weigh God. You wouldn't use these metrics of mass to define God's weight, because it's because God is unlike the creation, right? He's not a human being or whatever, right? I'm not sure about the Christian faith. The point I'm making is you don't just project out of. We only know about God what He knows about, what He says about Himself, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So when Allah says Allah is the best of planners, when does He say it? How does He say it? Why does He say it? We do not project, and it's a very tricky line, because you think you know God, and you think you know Him perfectly because you have this image in your mind of Him, not you, but the individual, when you really should be sticking only to the scripture and the scripture alone, and obviously certain scholarship that is authorized to interpret the scripture. I'm sure it's the same in the Christian faith. You can't just say attributes or statements. For example, somebody will say God is all good. Now, and then they'll say, well, if God is all good and He's all powerful, why do bad things all happen? Well, then you're restricting your perception of good to Him. That's why when God punishes people in this life and in the next, you are making the assumption that He's no longer good. He's always been good, and He's always been powerful, but you're making the judgment.
Even when God punishes you, is all good, because
that's what I'm saying. Because
because you've done something evil. Now,
yes.
and that is a good thing. But the thing is, if I was to say to you, generally, if I was to say to you, God is powerful, would you disagree with that?
Would I disagree? No.
Exactly. So
I wouldn't disagree with it specifically because I've read it. Allah is the most powerful, the all-knowing, the all-wise, the oft forgiven.
Yeah, if God is all knowing, then it makes sense that God is the best of planners. It doesn't
Does God
necessarily.
love? Does God love all?
Does God love who?
Sorry. Let me. Is God able to do anything?
Yes, of course.
So does God do everything?
Does God do everything?
Yeah.
No, he's able to do anything, but does God
Why
do
would
it?
you? Why would you limit that God is
I'm not
doing
lim-
everything?
I'm not limiting it.
I'm not saying you're limiting God. I'm saying God can do anything. So,
Yeah,
and God is responsible for the sun rising and the sunset,
yeah,
right? God is responsible for rainfall and drought.
yes.
So God is doing everything.
But that doesn't encompass everything.
Okay, that's you limit
You mentioned
the content.
you mentioned about three things.
Go ahead.
If it's about does God do everything? Well,
Yes.
I can only go by what my revelation states about God.
Thank you.
Hold on, wait. And from what my revelation states about God, it's not specific to just one verse. Your argument is, well, that verse said it in this way, so therefore it can only be represented in this way. But is God the best of planners? That could be used. That's true, regardless of that verse. Is God is God all powerful? That's true,
Why
regardless.
is
For example,
why though?
there's
Well,
loads of verses in the
if you can
Bible.
stay, teach me,
Hold on.
teach me, teach
There's
me.
loads of
Just
verses. There's loads
sure.
of verses in the Bible that says God is the most powerful being there's
In
nothing
existence.
like God, right? There's
Sure.
nothing like God, right? That's true regardless in whatever context you say it in. Our God is whether so that's been revealed that God is just
Okay.
a powerful being.
Okay.
If I was to say
I
God is all
accept. I accept your argument. I accept your argument. The reason I require context for this verse is two reasons. One, I've heard it being repeated on numerous occasions, right, by ignorant people. So I know that where it comes from, right. I know who says it, right. When somebody says to you, right, Jesus loves everyone. What is the first thing that comes to mind?
Jesus loves everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does love everyone.
That's it.
That's it.
You haven't heard that term being misused repeatedly?
Oh, the only time it gets misused is
And you and
when
I both know where.
hold on. The only time it gets misused is when people try to use that term to
Accommodate
infer.
sin.
Hold on, they try to use that term
Yeah,
to
exactly. Yeah.
infer that God also loves that Jesus also loves the sin. So for example, yes, Jesus loves
Yeah.
everyone. Everyone is a sinner. Okay, every human being is a sinner. Does Jesus love the sin that you are currently practicing? No. Does Jesus wants you to stop sinning and follow him? Yes. So
So you're aware how that very
I'll tell
Christian
you this right
foundation.
now.
Sorry, Katie. I just want to pin Octavio down because
yeah,
it's very important that this gets mentioned and
that's,
clarified. Sorry,
that's
Katie.
go ahead.
So you're aware of how that Jesus love everybody has been weaponized to dilute Christianity to accommodate those who Christianity opposes.
Christianity opposes sin.
Well, I'm being very specific. In the US, the term Jesus or love in response to the how because Christians say Jesus loves
Obviously,
everybody. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
okay. Yes. Does the term Jesus loves everyone has it been bastardized? Has it been misused?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it has misused.
Yes.
It has been misused to mischaracterize Jesus' message,
Yes.
to
Dilute it.
to dilute it, to push agendas which
Yes.
are anti-Christian, which does
Yeah.
not is not seen in the Bible, it's not seen in the Gospels. So yes, absolutely, yeah, you're right on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So that's why a Christian, when somebody says Jesus is love, you got to snap them into context. You don't as you said, they've weaponized, they've bastardized it to target a particular group. And from what from your lectures that I've been listening to over the last couple of months, is the Protestants. The Protestants have unfortunately fallen victim because of their lack of hierarchy in their religious system, and which has opened the door to a floodgate of absolute immorality, right? Even in the church. Anyway, so when somebody says Allah is the best of planets, it's referring to a specific verse at a specific time. Yes, Allah is the best of planets because he's the most wise, the most capable of controlling all of existence. So of course, if he was to make a plan, nobody else can beat him in that plan. But often the people who say it are people who are pseudo-religious, religious just enough to tell people off and look better than them and do a holier than thou type perspective. I'm a Muslim, I would know, right? This has been my experience. The verse specifically talks about conflict. That those who oppose you plan. They plan against Allah, and this is referring to a specific conflict. And then, but Allah ends it with Allah is the best of planners. That's why their plan fails, and so on and so on. People misuse this with the assumption that that this is what I want, and I want Allah to support me, so I will say Allah is the best of planners.
Oh, I see.
Right?
So they're using it to they're using it for their own gain. They're using it for their own purposes.
You're using it for their own misguidance. Because I seriously doubt Allah is morally, or by His own words, has morally what's the word obliged to get you a Lamborghini, get you 4 wives. The requirements of this world are the commitment of God to you in this world is very simple. Trial. The Islamic interpretation.
I don't think you're saying it in that context, though.
The listeners do, right? The shisha cap Muslims do. They love this guy's message. That have perked ears when they hear him say 4 wives and Bugatti and the men of the old and blah 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 and all this BS, right? He is. You may be unaware of his market, his demographic, the people he's marketing to. If it's not clear enough now, I think maybe seeing him from a more objective perspective, rather than what good he's doing, see what possible harm he could be doing. That's my perspective.
Like I said, I don't look at his message. I don't look at any. The only being that I look at whose message is complete and full, and I agree with everything, is Jesus Christ.
Sure.
So any other human being, there's always going to be good and bad within their message. So
would you say there's more good with him than bad?
So far from everything that he put, when I look at his journey and I look at because none of us are perfect and we are all growing, and we make mistakes in our past, and we are trying to become better and better according to what we believe. He has converted to Islam, and as you know, I don't agree with that. But he decided to convert it to Islam, which means he's thinking about doing good things. He's thinking about becoming a better man. That's what he's thinking about. So when I look at his life, he went from webcam to now converting and trying to become a good Muslim, right? So to me, it looks like his mind is in the right place. He's trying to. He doesn't want to do webcam. He looks at that as disgusting. He realizes that was wrong to do, and now he's trying to become a better person. To me, that's a good way of that's a good indication that he's becoming a better person.
Why was he celebrating Christmas then?
Why was he celebrating Christmas?
He was celebrating Christmas, and
that was your question, Katie.
Yeah, like he was celebrating.
He was celebrating.
Yeah. You can literally see it on Twitter and YouTube.
I don't think. I think most of these guys. I don't think they celebrate. I think they just use it as a party rather than the real meaning of Christmas. I don't think he's sitting there thinking God incarnate, Jesus Christ, as I don't think it's thinking in those terms. I think it's just an excuse to have a party. The whole world is celebrating it, so everyone thinks, why not? I think he's missed.
I think he's missed your point, KD. I think Octavio's stuck in the Christian matrix. Because Christian is stuck in the Christian matrix. He's
Hold
celebrating Christmas. He's celebrating Christmas. You don't need to think about Jesus. You just need to put on a pie hat and eat some sausage
no, but
rolls.
that's not
That's bad enough.
that's not celebrating Christmas.
That's
So,
bad enough from a Muslim perspective.
okay, oh, I see. From a Muslim perspective, that's bad enough. But celebrating Christmas. First of all, that the hat has nothing to do with Christmas. It has nothing to do with the religion.
Yeah.
Santa has nothing to do with the religion.
Aren't you Santa?
Huh?
Aren't you Santa? You got a big beard and you're jolly.
Yeah, but it's not white though. It's
Oh,
different.
it's true.
So it got nothing to do with Christmas. So
Yeah,
putting a red hat on has nothing to do with Christmas.
Coca-Cola, polar bears.
Drinking and eating loads of food until you can't. That has nothing to do with Christmas. So the real meaning of Christmas is completely something else. And I doubt very much that he was celebrating that. Just like a lot of people,
I doubt as well.
just like a lot of people in England don't really celebrate Christmas. They just use it as a day to party and
Spend money.
indulge, spend money, and get drunk. A lot of people just use it for
And drink.
yeah. They use it for those reasons, for those purposes. But no, I will never say those people are celebrating Christmas. But not even close.
Okay, so there's one last point I wanted to make as well, and then I'm done. I'm stop going to ranting and interrupting and.
Nah, that's okay, bro.
And I genuinely appreciate you guys listening.
Come on, bro, man.
I don't know, but he said, "I'm so rich now. I speak." No, what was it? Something about negativity. He said, I avoid negativity. It's contagious. Blah blah blah. And another word for negativity is objective reality. I think he's a master of marketing, not a genius, because the word genius is far too strong and it's thrown around far too much. And a genius, by definition, is a person whose work lives on long after they die. Someone like Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein. These people are geniuses.
He believes that of himself. He believes that of himself.
He believes that, absolutely. He says negativity. Now, if you're in a multi-level marketing scheme, let's say you're doing door-to-door sales or you're selling people this marketing crap where people just do sale, these type of marketing things where you're basically telling people. Multi-level marketing is where you try to recruit people to sell products, and the people you recruit, if they sell products, you also get a revenue from their product, right? One of the main issues in these multi-level marketing schemes when they're training you is to avoid negativity. Negativity sometimes is required. Negativity is a byproduct of incorrect behavior or commitment to an incorrect behavior. Positivity is a reaction to appropriate behavior. No, so we've gone down so we started off with drugs, school, masturbation, three or fours, because I have to use the YouTube term. Living a long life, working a mundane job will lead to depression. You will lose the battle in your mind, and even worse, you will die and you won't be remembered, because being remembered is very important. So focus on becoming rich and having many passports. Don't be an average man. And if you're an average man, if you're an average man, you should be respected, because average women are worse than you, right? So being an average man is shameful, and because you'll notice the way he speaks about the average man isn't as bad as the way he speaks about the average woman, right? Nowhere near. So it's a very dark and vindictive, so manipulative, predatory path that he lays out for these very vulnerable people that consider him to be some sort of guidance. And he throws in religion. Religion is useful in context, in proportion, in moderation, because ultimately, let's say Jesus wasn't the Son of God. Let's say Jesus was just a man who promoted, just be a bit more appropriate, but wasn't divine in any way. What would that make the Bible? It would make it a book.
What would that make the Bible?
It would make it, yeah, it would make it a book of stories that encourage people to commit themselves to ways of life that can help sustain a society. And it's objectively true. If you live a Christian life, generally, a Christian society, with or without the belief in God, ends up prospering and being more sustainable for the society. You know, love thy neighbor like you love your. Want for your neighbor for what you want for yourself. Do not cover thy neighbor's ass or whatever it's called. Thou shalt not kill. You know, right?
Well, the history proves
No,
that.
no, bro.
Like,
Sorry, Katie, go ahead.
Go ahead.
as violent as some Christians were, like the history already proves that like you need like a religion to keep society stable.
What are you guys talking about? Everything that Hassan was citing was the natural law and is part of the Ten Commandments. The natural law is written in all our hearts. You're gonna find words, you know, when you've got commandments like, you know, respect your father and you honor your father and your mother. This is something that we all instinctively know. All right. Do not covet your neighbor's wife. These truths are called the natural law, and it's something that instinctively all human beings know. So therefore, you will find them in all religions. You will find these truths in all religions. They're nothing special.
But you get my point.
Yeah. But what Jesus did is something completely different. Jesus said, "You've been told that you should not commit adultery. But I say to you that if you even look at a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart." He made it even more difficult.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
He-
Okay. So it seems like you may have, I may have, I wasn't trying to water down the message.
oh no
The
no no
point I
no
was,
no
yeah.
no no! I was just correcting because your main point was basically that if if there's a religion there, it is good for society long term.
Yeah.
I think that was your overall point, which
Well,
is still valid.
yeah. What I was trying to guide my point to, because I didn't want to tread on toes by mentioning Christianity and so on.
Oh, you're not
But
trading on people, bro.
yeah, because I'm trying to be careful in the way I speak.
Don't be, bro. Don't be. I'm not.
I know you. I know you're not. I just don't want to. I don't want to misrepresent myself.
Because if you say just like if I say anything about Islam that represent, I expect you to say, "Oh no, bro. Let me just correct you on this bit."
Okay. Oh, that's good.
It's important to be correct,
Yeah, absolutely, and to be corrected. But the point, I forget the point I was trying to make. Anyway.
Survival of society, and
Yeah,
and
but
how
then there was a reason why I was saying that anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, the point I'm making is, let me conclude. I'll be rambling. I'll be taking up a lot of time, and because I see him as nothing but a threat. I see him as a man.
Why do you see him like such a threat?
Okay, because he points out the problems in society. He's right. Western society, or society as a whole, because there's too much praise on other societies, because societies across the world have problems, whether it be one or the other. Right? Okay, the West may have a masculinity problem, but the other nations may have the developing nations may have corruption problems. So where there's no society is completely stable and successful.
No society is perfect.
Yeah, one will have one problem, the other one will have another problem, but they won't necessarily reflect the same problems, right? So pointing out the weaknesses in Western culture doesn't necessarily hide or resolve the issues in other cultures, right? You may have a successful traditional societies where the man knows his place and the woman knows his place, in the East or in Africa, whatever it may be, and not so much in the West, where there's more equality and feminism is the issue. But there's not that much corruption. The average man can survive. The average man doesn't have to bribe off his politician for facilities to be installed. We pay our taxes. Of course, our taxes are misused, but there's accountability. In developing nations, there is little to no accountability. theft is as much an issue to society than a lack of masculinity, right? But anyway, that's a side issue. He points out these problems. He presents himself as the solution. Ultimately, it goes back to give me money, be like me. I'm on his website right now, real world portal, therealworldportal.com. I despise this guy. Therealworldportal.com by Andrew Tate.
Right now.
Yeah. I clicked on one of his videos. There's a guy called, just showing pictures of guys in their bedrooms. Oh, I made this much this month. And these are all weird guys wearing leather jackets and
They're all testimonies, basically.
yeah, they're testimonies. One of the guys that's in the video, I've met in Speaker's Corner back in 2019 when I first went to Speaker's Corner. An absolute lunatic. I'll send you his video, Octavio, who just believes in. Yeah. I just saw him right. I'll give you the video evidence, guys. I spoke to him and he was talking about just a complete narcissist. You know these guys who believe in crystals and ultimately just worship themselves. These lunatics. Which just goes back to what the issue is. Narcissism. Everybody's got a movie playing in their head. They're either God or Genghis Khan or the guy from Gladiator, Russell Crowe or whatever. They're just very vulnerable people who've got shallow ideas. Anyway, I'm on the website. It's an epidemic, bro. It's a real epidemic. So I'm on the website again. Testimony after testimony. I made money. And what are they going to do with this money? Buy Rolexes that they can't afford, right? Was it that Tristan Tate said? This is a quote from Tristan Tate, actually. Tristan Tate was asked, you used to make your money. No, this is what one of the callers asked them on their, little webcam thing that they have going on. This little, what's called the war room or whatever. Somebody emailed in a super chat or whatever and asked the question. They said, don't you own casinos? Right. It was an interviewer. Yeah, they said they often criticize. This is what, because they still have casinos. I know Tristan Tate does. I don't know about Andrew. Right. Still have casinos because obviously they didn't go away just because of COVID. They didn't sell their assets. They didn't go away. And that goes, well, how can you be helping young men and vulnerable men and trying to build a more masculine society when you've got casinos? And casinos just rob people of their wealth when they should be spending that money on their family or saving it or spending it on nothing, and then they'd be better off, right? He says, well, we have the casinos, and it's up to people to have self-control. If they don't want to buy into it, then it's up to them. And so
He's
so
right.
forth.
He's right.
He's not right. He's not right. If you're a drug dealer and you say
His
selling
brother's
drugs,
a bit hypocritical. Like, I respect him.
they're both pretty much they're the same guy, bro. They're pretty much the same guy. Sorry, Katie, to be sound so condescending, but I can't imagine. Anyway, they seem pretty similar to me. If you're a drug dealer and you're selling drugs, you are a criminal because you are facilitating an opportunity that causes so much harm. You don't facilitate an opportunity and say, oh, guys, it's up to you if you want to take this job. It's not my responsibility. I just paid for it to be here, and I'm advertising it, and I have it available, and I can deliver it to you, and you can get it any which way you want. But hey, it's up to you to have self-control. Well, hold on. No, most people are as loyal as their options. When it comes to drugs,
the seller is just as bad as the buyer.
Yes, of course. But the human being, by his nature, is fragile and weak. That's why they're convinced by some random bold guy on YouTube to just hand over £50 a month for him to tell them that they're stupid and emasculate them more than they already are emasculated. How could I become more masculine by listening to a guy telling me I'm not masculine? Shut up, bro. I'm not listening to you. I'll go out and find him. I work on myself. I don't need you. You're telling me that I'm poor and I'm stupid and I'm weak. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear it. You don't need to. I don't need you to teach me. And then he says these are men who grew up without a father. Who are you to tell me who I grew up without? But anyway, I'm rambling.
Go on, KD.
This is this. I just want to finish. I want to finish the verse. I want to finish the context. Sorry, and then I'll be quiet. In the Quran, it says on the day of judgment, the people who are deceived by the devil will say to the devil, "You deceived us. You led us astray." And he'll say, "No. All I did was invite you to evil, and you're the one that accepted the invitation." Now, by that definition, the devil should be scot-free, shouldn't he? He's not. He goes to hell. Just to give you a spoiler alert.
But that definition, what? Say that again.
by that definition, by the definition of people should have more self-control, and that being ultimately the poignant part, that there is no blame attributed to the one who facilitates sin, anywhere near as much as the one accepting the sin. The sin, the one facilitating the sin, shouldn't be punished.
Oh, I see. You look at
Should be
gambling
punished.
as he should be punished. Okay, so your problem with him is that he does what? Gambling? That he facilitates gambling?
My problem is he's a predator, preying on the weaknesses of men by pointing out their weaknesses, presenting how much of a problem it is, and not presenting a solution. He's not a red pillar. He is the red pill
Okay, so if
I mean,
incarnate.
can you blame him because
Can
most
I
of the
blame
men
him?
here don't stand up for anything? Like, why aren't the men getting together and protesting and having a revolution? Like, we can change this like tomorrow.
What
But
are we going to
like,
change? What are we going to
no
change,
man
KD?
stands up.
What are we going to change, KD? What's the issue, KD?
Oh,
Turn
breaking
that
down.
9 to 5 to a 9 to 4.5, an extra half an hour.
No, I
What?
mean,
I've
I
lost it.
mean,
Go on,
stand
KD.
up for like the breakdown of the nuclear family, these LGBT stuff in schools. Like, stand up to this stuff. That's my point.
I don't think Hassan disagrees with standing up to LGBTQ and
Immorality.
I mean, he doesn't like him. He's gonna be biased. I understand. Because if
I
I didn't like
despise him.
someone,
I
yeah,
despise
if I
him. It's
didn't
not that
like
I don't
someone, I
dislike.
would just, yeah, I'd also be biased. So
I don't think
I
most of what
despise
he
him.
said, most of what Andrew Tate says is absolutely on point. I don't disagree. When he speaks against when he speaks against the idea that a man can be a woman can be a man, when he speaks against all the social degeneracy that we see in the Western world,
Oh,
I
that's not
think.
true. That's not true. That's
Hold
not
on,
true.
wait.
It's not. It's just not true. It's not true, Octavia.
Hold on. Let me
what's
finish
not
my
true?
thought. Let me finish my thought. When he speaks about all the degeneracy that we see in the world, in the Western world, he shouldn't be sleeping with so many women because that is now his message. It never used to be that. So when he speaks like that, I, I don't see nothing that I disagree with. Now the 9 to 5 one, the 9 to 5 comment that he made, that I absolutely disagree with. That did not make sense to me. So and that was my only issue with what he was saying. But the rest, most of it, I agree with. We would have to go. What exactly does he say that people necessarily agree with? Because I don't care who says it. If someone says teaching kids teaching children that being gay is okay, or having same-sex relationships is okay, if anyone says that this is wrong, I'm sorry, I'm going to agree with them. I don't care if they are Muslim. I don't care if they are atheists. I don't care who they are. If they say that teaching children that same-sex relationships is wrong, if they saying that, then I'm going to agree with them. You guys still there?
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. We have to, pinpoint like the 9 to 5. I disagree with that. Okay, I disagree with the 9 to 5 comment. I thought that was logically doesn't follow. It doesn't make any sense. But the moral issues that he has with the Western world, I absolutely.
Octavia,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? Listen to this.
I recently posted a question on Twitter asking, would you rather have sex with a transsexual, which is a legitimate 10, or a woman, which is a legitimate 1? And everyone's sitting there clicking woman, because they think they're going to be gay and do anything else, but they're not actually thinking about the question. When I say a 1 and a 10, I mean Megan Fox with a that's the tranny, or Hulk Hogan with a that's the girl. This is the question I'm asking. Megan Fox or Hulk Hogan? So you're thinking, well, I don't want to be gay, so let's just click the girl number 1, didn't it? You're gonna Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he's got mustache and muscles and he's all hairy, big dude, 6'5". It's pretty gay to me. That's how I care. That is gay.
So, Octavio, which one would you have sex with? Megan Fox with a penis or Hulk Hogan with a vagina?
Hulk Hogan.
Good, great answer. I would say neither. And then I would say, why the hell are you presenting this question to me? What are your motives? What are your intentions? Secondly, I would ask, why would I have sex with a trans man or trans woman? Which I don't know. I don't know the correct terminology. This is the man that we're listening to.
No,
This is the man.
But listen to what I'm saying, Hassan. Hassan, you're not supposed to listen. Anything that comes out of a man's mouth, you are supposed to analyze and see if it passes certain tests. I call it the moral test and the logic test. Okay, so if they say something that's immoral, like for example, what the choice that he just proposed just now, the choice that he just proposed just now to me was immoral. He basically said that he would rather sleep with a man. That's what he's just said. Okay, to me that is wrong. But hold on a second. But when he says a man should be physically fit, a man should work hard, I agree with that. When he says that teaching kids the same-sex relationship is okay, I agree with that. So for example, now when he turns around and he says, you know what, a 9 to 5 is bad or whatever, I disagree with that. When he gives these choices, I disagree with that. It's up to the person to. You're not going to agree with everything a person says.
I'm not.
Analyze what they say.
No.
Analyze what they say. See what they are saying.
He's actually
See if it's valid or not.
No. I don't read people like their manuscript. I don't take their word. I don't know what Octavio's gone. You still there, Octavio?
I'm still here.
We had a bad internet connection before. I just want to make sure. Right. I don't only in a debate would I listen to a person's words like it's a manuscript, because debates are like a chess match. It's one move versus another. But when it comes to a general conversation, generally listening to someone holistically, trying to assess who they are, what their intentions are, where their past is, where their future is, you have to look at you have to take a holistic approach. I have to say, well, how did you have money? How did you make your money? Okay, well, okay, you did this. Okay, fair enough. That's a bit iffy. Whatever. Oh, you've converted. You've left the old. Okay, cool. So what are you promoting now? You're pointing out an issue. What's the issue? There's a crisis here, and doesn't seem society seems to be functioning. Well, it's this and this is issue. Okay, fair enough. Those are the issues. What are you doing to resolve it? And all he has is materialism as a solution, and the method of getting through to that materialistic solution, which isn't a solution, right? The war on Ukraine was a clear example. You have Ibrahimovic, what's his name? Roman Ibrahimovic, a Chelsea owner, multi-billionaire. When Russia decided to invade Ukraine, his money was seized, his money was frozen, his yacht. Talk about a Russian billionaire. His ships being seized, his inability to go nowhere, to do nothing, going from wealthy to poor within a strike of a pen or an enter of a keyboard, right? So clearly materialism isn't the solution against society, right? Against the powers that be, because you're making your money off the system, so you're going to be bound to it anyway. So he presents no solution. He points out the problem. He essentially emasculates men, and whoever's willing to tolerate his talk down, right, is prey. And then he presents them with nothing. Just buy my course, enter the treadmill as much as you can. And you see these videos of his brother talking about when we had no money, or when we were eating KFC, we spent our last bit of money on a Aston Martin because we got to look the part. Well, why do you have to look the part? What are you doing by spending your last bit of money on an expensive car that you can't afford? You're luring in suckers. You're luring people with money, women, war, trying to present them, offering them fame, because he's presented fame. He presents fame as a valuable trait to have. He says, at least you're not forgotten. That's fame, right? He says, if 12,000 people are killed and they consider you just to be a number amongst those people, you are better off being 12,000 died, plus he put Andrew Tate in this situation, but plus you, meaning that you are greater than the collective. You are greater than the war. For you to fight in this war, which is a war that's in your head, it's a war that if you do not succeed, you'll become a 9 to 5, living to 74 years old, and end up being depressed. Although depression doesn't exist, blah 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 blah, whatever, right? Pursue fame, pursue money. That's your only solution. And by the way, I'm the one that's going to save you. I'm Morpheus in the Matrix when he's really Agent Smith. I think I've exhausted myself trying to present my argument. I've tried my best, guys. I hope you guys are.
Listen.
Yeah.
What you're basically saying, you're agreeing with me, because what you're basically saying is, when it comes to his overall, aim, so his overall conclusion, his overall solution, so to speak.
Yes.
You don't agree with it. When you look at his solution, it's just not good, because his solution is materialism.
Yeah.
All right. And like you said, the Matrix is in charge of anything to do with materialism. Much so that when they arrested him, all his materialistic possessions were seized. His bank accounts were seized, cars seized, everything seized. So basically, what you're saying is what we've done is we've proven his solution wrong, and his solution is having loads of passports, having all of that type of stuff. But does that change the fact that there are certain things that he says that is good for men? Absolutely. But it's just that the conclusion of it all, the solution of it all, his overall message, where everything it's definitely not good for men. It's definitely not good for men, because it's not an actual solution. It's not an actual solution. Because, for example,
someone, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, if I'm going to have all this materialistic stuff, yeah, and thinking that this is going to somehow, solve my problems better than it would solve the poor man's problems, and yet when I get into trouble with the law, that's it. They're just gonna seize my stuff anyway, including him, just like they would do to a poor person. Then what are you selling? It doesn't make any sense at all. Do you see what I'm saying? So basically, because what I was really trying to accomplish with asking this question, Andrew Tate says that there's a war coming. Do you believe it? Is I'm trying to basically expose it. Okay, the whole idea was to expose it. Is to expose that he doesn't actually know what this war is about. He doesn't understand what the purpose of the war is all about. I do believe that there's a war, but I believe that this war is not coming, that this war has been here, is already here, and it will continue, and it has a purpose.
What's the war?
Huh?
What's the who? Tell me the war. Tell me the players. Tell me the battlefield. Tell me the opposition.
Okay, the purpose of, I'll tell you what the purpose of the war is. The purpose of the war is to change the hearts and minds of people to follow to follow an ideology that the powers that be envision for humanity. Okay, so that is what's actually happening. It's not about money or not having money. It's about changing hearts and minds to be. It's like a war for converts. All right. You have the Muslims trying to convert people into Islam. You have the Christians trying to convert people into Christianity. You have the Sikhs trying to get. I don't think they're really trying.
I don't think so. All the Jews, all the Hindus,
or even the Jews.
It's just the Muslims and the Christians. But I assume you're alluding to the war of Satanism. The devil, is that what you're saying?
I was actually going to go into that. I was going to say, and it's the and then you have, well, so do the feminists. Feminists want more people to become feminists. They want more women to believe in the idea that men and women are equal. They want more women to to believe in Planned Parenthood and use Planned Parenthood to abort their children. They want more women to use the pill and so on. Well, so is secular humanism. So is, guess what, Satanism. So is anyone of any ideology, persuasion. They want to get people, all right, to basically follow their ideologies. They want to change their hearts and minds. When you look at business, it operates in the same way. I want you to buy my product. All right. I want you to follow me. I want you to support me. When you look at Twitter, it's a gains of followers. People want to get followers. People want people to subscribe to what they do. It's a game of converts. All right. And it's the same thing with the powers that be. They are trying to get people to convert out of the religion that they were in, out of the belief system that they were in, and join them in their way of thinking, in their way of be. I would call it degenerate, and Andrew Tate
So
has called it degenerate. So
That's
that's
even
that's
less.
that is really what's really going on. What's really
is
going
there
is
is there an
trying.
overarching battlefield and enemy?
Yes, for example, look, let's do a quick experiment, right? You've got a normal Muslim boy. He grew up in a Muslim country and he immigrates to the West, to UK, the Western world of America. All right, he understands that he is supposed to follow his religion because in his country they take religious serious.
That's me. You're talking about me.
Yeah. Now look at you, secular. No, I'm joking. No, so, but because he lives in the Western world, in the Western country, all right. Um, Hassan is actually very good, guys. He really believes in his religion. But
Thanks for defending my honor.
it's true. It's true. Um, so because he has moved to a different country that has a different belief system, that operates off of a different belief system, and it's the dominant belief system in that country. Okay, so for example, if you to go to a purely Muslim countries, where Sharia law is implemented, the dominant ideology would be Islam. Okay, it would be Sharia, so you're more likely to be influenced by that because that's the dominant religion. When you come to the West, the dominant philosophies or ideologies that control the West is feminism, secular humanism, and so on and so forth. Okay, the list goes on: evolution, atheism, and all of that type of stuff. So when you come into this country and you stay here long enough, you will be, because it's the dominant culture, you will be more influenced by that. All right. And what I'm basically saying is these dominant ideologies all come from the powers that Andrew Tate would call the matrix. All right. And it's a game of conversion. They want the whole world to follow their way of thinking. Because if you can get everyone to agree with you and follow you, guess what? They'll buy all your products. They'll do whatever you want. You can tell them jump. They'll tell you. They'll ask you how high. They'll do. They will idolize you. They will follow you wherever you go. Yeah. And that is the true definition of power. That is the true definition of, why did Andrew Tate become so the most Googled man on earth? All right. Why? Because so many people followed him. So many people converted into his ideology, into what he was talking about. All right. And that's what made him powerful. And it's not because he didn't have no converts. It's not because he didn't have no one following him. It was precisely because he had loads of people following him. That's what made him powerful. That's what made him a big issue to the powers that be. Because the powers that be want you to follow what they want you to follow, which is feminism, humanism, all of that, all of these ideologies. All right. So that's how it works. It's a game of converts. That's it. If I can get more people converted to my ideology, I can make an impact in the world. I can change the world into how I want it to be. Feminism had a huge impact in the West. This is why you've got women today that believe they're stronger than men. This is why you've got women today that believe men and women are equal. This is why you've got women today that believe In all time, they don't even they no longer believe in gender roles. Why do you think that happened? That happened because these women converted to that ideology, to that belief system. And this is why we have all the problems that we have.
True, true, true.
Yeah, it's a game of
And the
numbers.
solution to that problem. Sorry, did I interrupt? You're going to say something?
No. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
And the solution to that problem, I, as a Muslim, would say it's Islam. You, as a Christian, would say it's Christianity.
Christianity, yeah.
I'm comfortable with the idea presented with a world where there is no Christianity, or if I was presented with a world where there was atheism, or I was presented with a world where there was Christianity, I would choose the world with Christianity. That's not because I want people to be the fear of God is useful, right? You want the fear of God is moral medicine, because if there's no fear of God, you don't know God. If you don't fear God, you don't know God. You can't. I can't accept the idea. Maybe I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, but can you really call yourself a Christian if you don't fear God fundamentally?
No, the Bible says the beginning of knowledge is the fear of God.
Thank you very much. You are like a walking Bible.
Yeah. The fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. Sorry, KD.
It should be a healthy thing.
Sorry, KD?
It's a healthy thing. It's a healthy face. It should be a healthy thing, basically.
Yeah, it's healthy. For example, my son, when my son fears me, is healthy for him. Why? Because no one loves him more than I do. No one wants the best for him more than I do. I'm his father. I know him well. So when he fears me, it's good because I have the best intentions for him. So when you fear God, it's very good because God is the one who created you and he has the best intentions for you. He wants the best for you. This is why you're promised heaven if you do his will. So that's oh, Rashid, morning, guys. Hope you had a nice Christmas.
Was he listening the whole time?
I don't know if he was listening or not. But loads of people catch up later anyway. But yeah, what I was basically saying, it's a game of converse. So when I look at Andrew Tate, when he talks about this war, what I've managed to kind of conclude from listening to him is he doesn't know what this war he doesn't understand fully what this war is or what this war is about and the purpose of the war. I don't think he understands fully. He mentions there's bits and bobs that he mentions that I would say yes, I agree with. Yeah, those things are part of the war against humanity. You can call it a war against humanity, but really and truly this war is to get you to convert to their ideology. All right. So he understands. I would say 15% of it, but I don't think he fully understands 85% of it because when I look at his solution, it's like, what, bruv, you just contradicted yourself.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt, but I've just realized why I haven't realized it, but here's one tool that I've forgotten that I really indicates why I genuinely don't like Andrew Tate. He's more of a cult leader than he is anything else. Have you heard of Tateism?
Tateism.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing it. You're coming up.
Yeah.
Go on, KD.
Yeah, didn't they discuss it in that video? I can't remember all of it.
Well, it's a book. It's called The 41 Tenets of Tateism by Andrew Tate. The book is
those 41 things. Yeah.
The philosophy of Andrew Tate lives by to succeed in life.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He's got his own book
in the video.
Yeah, so the historical philosophy which appears to live in balance with and harmony with oneself, human society, and the natural world is founded in the idols of Tate. the ideals of Tate. An analogy, anthology. Okay, so reading out loud is not my thing, but you get my point. I'm reading the Amazon because the book is still available on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. Oh, so no, it says currently unavailable. But
Oh, he was selling it, yeah.
or the paperback January 14th, 2023. So, and his real name is Emery Andrew Tate III. So I thought his name was just Andrew Tate. I guess that's his stage name. He seems like if I didn't know him, if you didn't say to me this person's name is Andrew Tate, and you just presented everything that he says and everything, I would say this guy's a cult leader, right? Presents himself as being a physically superior specimen, speaks about himself so highly, points out a crisis, points himself out as a solution to the crisis. Because the wise thing to say and do would be convert to Islam if you're a Muslim. Islam is a solution. Islam is what saved me. It's not a case of the Muslims are beating the non-Muslims, therefore the Muslims are better and Islam is true because Islam. I'm a Muslim, right? Islam will not be the predominant faith near the end of times or as time goes on. It ebbs and flows like all faiths. As time will, the Muslim by definition is the stranger. The Muslim by definition is the one who doesn't fit in. I'm sure you would say the same of Christians. The glory of being a Muslim is not worldly possession. The fact that we outnumber the people of other faiths, I won't go into specific ones, but people of other faiths, the fact that we are large in number, rich in wealth, extensive in power doesn't mean that God likes us. That's why I don't like this whole Allah is the best of planners, because people they assume that Allah is planning on their behalf or to benefit. People assume too much that God likes them. That's another strange thing. Allah is I'm Muslim.
I find that strange as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this obsession that God loves me. He probably hates you, right? That's why you're rich and depressed. Well, that's why you can't see. A man came to the Prophet Muhammad once. This is a hadith that people don't quote enough. A man came to the Prophet Muhammad and he said, Allah has not tested me in this life. I have a great life. I'm worried that I might face hardship in the next life. And the Prophet Muhammad asked him, when was the last time you cried? He goes, I never cried. I've never cried. Obviously, as an adult man, obviously as a baby, you cry. Right? He goes, as an adult man, I don't cry. I've never cried in my life as an adult man, and I don't cry. He goes to me, that's your curse. That's your hardship. That's your suffering. Meaning, a man with a heart would cry at some point. Meaning your heart is so hardened that you're incapable of shedding tears. And I'm not saying shedding tears like some B word.
Don't say it.
You know I'm not gonna say it. You know I'm not gonna say it. I say it off camera. I'm not gonna say it. I know the etiquette. I know the etiquette. But
it's the way you lined it up. It's the way it's like that was the next word.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. I have more confidence in my
I was like, he's gonna say it. Yeah. What other word can you use after that?
Well, I said B word. That's it. That's what I'm saying. And that's fine, isn't it? Is that fine? B word?
No. You can use whatever word you want. But the way you said it,
yeah,
it was leading to that. You know what I mean? There was no other you could use. So I was just like, I can see what's coming.
Yeah.
It's okay to say it, guys. It's okay to say it. It's okay to say
it. Fair enough. But yeah, I'll say B word. So yeah, what he was pointing out to is having a soft heart, because you're as a believer, you have a tough external. I'm projecting here. This is you can't quote me here from the scripture, but I assume as a righteous man has a hard external outer shell, meaning he's not vulnerable to external circumstances, but his heart is soft, meaning he has compassion and decency. So he will shed a tear seeing another person in hardship, or he's not a robot. He's a person with free will and chooses that free will not to overwhelm him. He doesn't allow the circumstance to overwhelm him, and he chooses to do good. Crying for, let's say, your fallen brothers and sisters in Israel, whether you be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or whatever, having the humanity to cry, but having the masculinity not to allow your emotions to overwhelm you, to stop you doing action. It's a balance, right? That was his curse. That was the way he's pointing out. So I forgot my train of thought. But the point I'm making is he Oh yeah, I forgot. What was the last thing I said before the crying? And oh yeah, God is the best of planners, so on and so forth.
What
Right.
is the message like this? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I said something
You
else.
just don't like
But
how
yeah,
people use those
yes,
terms. Mm.
yes, and project their own Tateism, their own mishmash of religion, their own bespoke perception of reality, their own self-fulfilling God loves me, so therefore I should become rich, and being a man, I should whatever. It's
Bro,
just they're making stuff up as they go along, which is not the point.
to be fair,
Yeah,
Tateism came before he
converted.
Tateism came before he converted to Islam, and
Yes,
to also be fair, most people that do not subscribe to a belief in God, a religion, or a belief in God, um, usually they create their own rights and wrongs in their own head.
yeah,
It's only after you subscribe to a religion, to God, that you have an authority that's outside of yourself that tells you what is right and what is wrong.
yes,
So I expect that kind of behavior from an atheist. You
yes,
know, I expect that kind of behavior from someone who doesn't have God as his authority, or who doesn't recognize God as his authority. So I expect that type of behavior.
yes,
I
yes,
expect
yes.
I expect them to create ideologies such as Tateism, because that's very similar to what the West,
Feminism. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
feminism, secular humanism. If you
Huh.
read, if you read the
Atheism.
Secular Humanism Manifesto, if you
Yeah.
actually read it, you will say that they deny the idea that God created the world. They accept the idea that human life originated from nature. Uh, so they hold to these beliefs, to these beliefs. But that's what I'm trying to say. This is what you get with atheism. Once you reject God, you have to create your own rights and wrongs, and that's exactly what they do. And yes, so
But
that's where Tateism basically comes from. But now that he's embraced Islam, he now believes in Islam. He must now let go of his Tateism philosophy and embrace the
Sunnah,
the, the new authority in
the
Islam,
Sunnah. Yeah.
which is the
Yes.
Sunnah. And he must live according to that now. You see what I'm
This
saying?
is this is again. You're hitting. We're getting closer and closer and closer to why I don't like him. You hit the nail on the head. He should bow down and prostrate and submit, because Islam means to submit, right? To submit to the authority that has been laid out and perfected before you. And I can see the
Wait, I
traits
was
of
gonna ask
Tateism.
Hassan,
Yeah,
Katie, go
go.
ahead.
like, how do you not predict that Islam won't be number one? Like, that's kind of strange.
It
Because
will
Sorry.
not be number one.
I'm
I'll, I'll,
non-Muslim and
I'll,
I know.
I'll compare. I'll answer that if you do. Let me finish my
Okay,
point and
okay,
then I'll answer
that's
that
fine.
question.
That's
But
fine. Then.
it's a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good
that's
question
fine.
though.
Hassan, was
It's
that Katie? Was that for Hassan or me?
we'll
No,
answer it
obviously
both,
for Hassan.
but I'll answer it and
I
then
I
you can
should
give
give
yours
both
straight.
to right.
Yeah, but let me finish my point. So, Allah is the best of planners, and it is something I've heard repeatedly, and other things that he quotes, right, repeatedly from pseudo Muslims that like this sort of mishmash, make up the religion as you go along, sit around women and call them three or fours. I see it repeatedly. This diluted version of Islam. Our faith isn't, our ummah isn't as strong as we'd like to present it to be. But this pseudo religion, I see him as the golden boy of those shisha kaf type Muslims. That's why I don't like him. It's a mishmash of random verses. Make things up as you go along. Say what suits you. Um, um, uh, uh, Take no real accountability. We live in a post-Trump world, and there are too many people like Andrew Tate that are cultivating the horde of ignorant, narcissistic, selfish, ignorant people, which kind of relates back to the topic that we had yesterday. Remember yesterday we were talking about Hamas and how the greater Muslim community should encourage people to go back towards what the scripture would encourage, what
Mm.
would be prescribed, rather than this mishmash these pseudo terrorists, which is Hamas. I'm a bit worried about calling Hamas terrorists because, again, if you call them terrorists, then that means the people of Gaza are somehow responsible for supporting terror, and then they're not so innocent to a certain extent, which leads to the argument, which I oppose, right? But this sort of, we're Muslims, but we're not acting by the scripture. We take what we wish, and we leave the rest, which ultimately dilutes our commitment. It doesn't dilute the faith, but it dilutes what the faith is meant to be, and it does not benefit the people who prescribe to it, and it's unwise, and it's essentially untrue. That's why I don't like Andrew Tate. He commercializes something that's not. He sells something that's not to be sold. You don't sell the faith. You don't promote the faith. You live the faith, and then from there on, people see the good in you, and then they change. Because a lot of people converted to Islam during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, just because they liked him, because they knew him to be a good person, trustworthy, honest. So when he says, listen to my message, and say, no problem, we know you to be a good person, and we've always known you to be a good person, so we'll listen to your message.
Katie, what was the question?
Yeah.
How
so
do
I
we
was
know
saying,
Islam is not going to be in number one?
Yeah, because didn't Muhammad predict that?
Did he?
From the Hadith.
He had a specific verse, a specific hadith that I can think. He said that the Muslims will be large in number. No, he said the Muslims would be at some point they would be victims to the surrounding empires, and they'll be sitting around. The Muslims would be consumed like a meal at a dinner table. And then the companions said, oh, we must be small in number. That's why we're so easily influenced and taken. He said, no, we would be great in number. We would be like the foam of the sea. That's the only hadith that I can think of. The Muslims being it's not, just logically speaking, you have specific verses that states the majority of mankind is misled. And if Islam is guidance and is the truth, but the majority is always misguided and always believes the lie, by that definition, Islam can never be the majority religion. Okay, we're living in a time where Muslims are great in number from when they used to be small in number, but the truth isn't an indication of numbers aren't an indication of the truth.
I agree with that.
And you
hold
see
on.
those Muslims.
Okay. So that question was for Hassan. Okay.
No. Answer, please. Please. I want to hear your opinion.
What was the question?
I said the Muslims aren't going to be great in number as time goes on. In most cases, but yeah.
We have the same. We have the same prophecy. We don't think that things are going to get better for Christians. We think it's going to get worse. And as the satanic religion, or the religion of Satan, takes over the world, it will become increasingly more difficult for human beings to stay faithful. So for Christians to stay faithful, and for people to convert, and because there's going to be a huge persecution against Christians. And yeah, so we don't dream of a utopia, because anyone who dreams of a utopia doesn't really believe in God.
Doesn't understand,
because God is the judge, not you, not your accomplishments on earth. God is the judge. You're supposed to surrender yourself to the revelation of God and trust in God and following God. That's what you're supposed to do. That is the purpose. All right. Now, how successful your religion is or isn't, it's not really up to you. All right. That's not what makes your religion successful, or how successful it is in the world. Because we know that the world is in our religion, we say that the prince of this world is Satan. Okay, so if your religion is successful, I wonder,
it's not a good sign.
Is Satan involved in that success? So the prediction for us is one that we going to become a minority. It's going to become so bad that God will cut the end time. God will cut that day short. That it will cut that time short, because if he leaves it any longer, no one will survive, and no one will be able to be saved. The evil that's coming, most people haven't witnessed it yet. Well, the Bible says that we haven't seen that type of evil since the beginning of creation. So what's coming is it's going to be unbearable for human beings to cope with. And yeah, so we don't dream of a utopia, because we all die. Every human being will die. So how can you dream of a utopia? If you will die, you will come into judgment. You'll be judged by God. So how can you dream of a utopia? It makes absolutely no sense. So everything you should focus on the truth and following the truth, rather than dream that one day your religion is going to be so successful and you're going to win in men's eyes. Men are sinful. You shouldn't focus on men. Focus on God instead. But yeah, guys, listen, I'm gonna have to end the stream here. This was a powerful one.
Great.
Wait, just one more thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I sent that prophecy video
I can't
about
wait to watch
Muhammad.
it.
So yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to
yeah,
watch it. I can't wait to watch it.
I'm not really liking it.
KD's
I'm
sending
not
me
gonna
stuff.
lie.
KD's sending me stuff, man. KD, you're a G, man. You really are. You really are. You really
Is
are.
it stuff to react to?
Bro,
Just,
I saw that video. I was actually thinking of doing that as a
what was the video?
this guy who's into, like, he's into the gym. He, muscly, and he helps people become,
Okay.
muscle bound and all of that type of stuff. And he comes across as, very masculine,
Yeah.
very tough, and all of
He's
that
a
type.
personal trainer.
He became a
Basically transitioned.
transgender. He transitioned.
Okay.
So
You want to do a reaction to that? All right.
no, but because what I really, when I was watching a little bit of that video, was what I was looking at is, it's not what, people focus on the exterior, on the outward appearance, rather than what's in your heart. All right. And what's in your heart is what makes you masculine. All right. Your exterior, of course, you have to take care of your exterior and all of that, but that's not where the priority should be. Your priority should be in your morals, what you believe in, who you are. Because look at that guy, KD. That guy, he looks tough, right? He looks, that, and look, because of where his heart was at, he transitioned. He became a transgender. How does that make any sense? Because his morals did not align, did not align with truth. And
Yeah. Yeah, KD, don't send me that kind of stuff.
Okay, I will tell
send it
I
to
will
him,
tell
KD. Send it to him. Bro, it's sad, bro. When I watched it, I was thinking,
He's
what
just
is,
explaining it, like what made him transition and everything, from like a little child to everything.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Like
that's interesting. That's interesting, because
It was dad.
I want to find
a
out how he's
different
gonna
like
embellish that.
perspective on it.
I want to find out how he's gonna embellish that, actually. But yeah, guys, listen, I really have to go. But
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna be
Been
back
great.
anyway. I'm gonna be back tomorrow anyway. All right, bros. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Thanks, KD, for coming in. Great to have you in, bro.
Yes, KD.
Yeah, thanks for
Make sure
having me,
make
as
sure
always.
you're here tomorrow again, KD, man. Hassan,
Oh, of course,
everyone, Rashid, the bra, everyone. All right, guys. Take care, guys. Yeah. Peace.